I have a planetary system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201, Shura Tower number 10. The number of people entering the Shura Tower dungeon number 10 on Xuanwu Island is limited to 24. Liangting led the Chinese server players to stand at the dungeon in trance. Their goal is to start from the 10th dungeon. 1 to 1000 is a 24-person dungeon, 1001 to 3000 is a 12-person dungeon, and 3001 to 10,000 is a 6-person dungeon. As the players with the strongest combat power in the Chinese server ranking list, they no longer care about the 12-person dungeon and the 6-person dungeon. After choosing for a long time among the 24-person dungeons, they finally chose the 10th dungeon. If you want to open up the wasteland, you have to choose the most difficult one. Each team has 6 people, and the 24-person force composed of 4 teams. Shan Wuang, Nongjun, is the captain of the first team, and serves as the first front row. Jiangxing, Yi Jian, is the captain of the second team, and is responsible for clearing the surrounding monsters and output. Lan Zifeng, Mage's the father, is the captain of the third team, and is responsible for violent output. And Liangting, I heard that my brother is right, is the captain of the fourth team, and is the commander. Each team is equipped with a fortune teller and a speech master, and the other professional configurations are matched according to the characteristics of the team. Liangting said to the players around her, "We have never explored this dungeon before, so if there are any problems, please give us feedback in time. You are all masters of this game, so act according to the situation." 24 people entered the Shura Tower at the same time. The screen flashed, and everyone appeared in a place where birds were singing and flowers were fragrant. There was no edge around. The grass was covered with petals, and a clear river flowed beside it. Fish were playing, dogs were sleeping, cows were eating grass, bees were collecting nectar, and flowers were emitting fragrance. There was a wooden house in the distance, and smoke was rising from behind the wooden house. The whole picture made people feel particularly refreshed. Is this in the dungeon? Are you sure this is not a resort? How do you know this is a resort? It's as if you have money to go there. That's right, you asked me to borrow money when you went to the club last time. We agreed not to mention this. Why are you talking about it again? Everyone approached the wooden house, and the creatures around looked at the group of creatures that appeared out of thin air in front of them with confusion. Their expressions did not show any malice, but they also seemed a little alert, as if this group of creatures that suddenly appeared had disturbed their peace. Strange, did we enter the wrong instance? It's too peaceful here. It doesn't look like there are any remnants of the Shura clan here. The chatter broke the tranquility of the place, and a sound came from the wooden house. Everyone looked over and saw a little girl with bare feet, black hair, and linen clothes walked out of the wooden house. She was holding a basket of small fish in her hand, obviously planning to cook. Seeing the players, the little girl was stunned for a moment. Then she picked up the simple broom made of wood and hay beside her with caution and fear, and asked nervously, "Who are you? Why are you here?" Kot, Shura clan, overlord creature, the creature of the 10th Shura Tower. Everyone was stunned. Are you sure you didn't enter the wrong instance? The 10th boss is a little girl of the overlord level? Exclamation mark. Seeing the group of people in front of him looking at each other, Cod pointed at everyone with a broom again. "Who are you? Are you creatures from the outside world?" Oh, he even knew whether we were creatures from the outside world. Liangting asked the players not to move, and then one of them stepped forward and said with a smile, "Little sister, we are indeed creatures from outside. Are you home alone?" Cod was still very vigilant and hid behind the wooden pillar. "Don't come over. I'm telling you, my parents and grandpa will be home soon. Why do I feel like we are bad guys? Little rabbit, open the door. Big bad wolf, you know what? This little girl is quite cute." Liangting said patiently, "Don't be afraid, we are not bad guys. We are here as guests. Let's wait for your parents to come home, okay?" Sure enough, how could a little girl of the overlord level guard the number 10 Shura Tower? It seems that her parents are the final boss. Seeing that this group of creatures really did not move, Cod was a little relieved. He put down the broom and hurriedly ran back to the wooden house with the basket and closed the wooden door. The board players didn't know what to do for a while. Looking at the pleasant scenery and cute animals around them, they went to walk their dogs and touch the cows. The puppy enjoyed the sound of being petted, turned over in comfort, and signaled the players not to listen. The grass-eating cow chewed the grass handed to it by the players and kept circling around the players. If the 10th Shura Tower asked us to kill this little girl, I really couldn't do it. Why think so much? We can just kill her parents. You're right, but not completely. Such a young girl actually has the strength of a hegemon. Don't you think it's strange? You're 20 years old and weigh more than 300 pounds. Don't you think it's strange? You fucking. At this time, Cod secretly opened the wooden door and saw this group of creatures just staying there and chatting. He felt that they were indeed not bad people. He asked Liangting, who was nearest, in a low voice, "Do you want to eat melon?" Liangting was a little surprised, then smiled and said, "Okay, thank you." The little girl took out a big melon from the wooden house and handed it over. The players came forward in 2s and 3s and smiled at Cod. "Thank you, Harry. This is the first time that an NPC has invited me to eat in this game. Yeah, the value of borrowing souls is high, and the number of treats is low. No mistake, 1 poem, 1 post, 1 content, 1 book, 1 forum, 1 6, 1 post, 1 content. Who are you insinuating about? Who else could it be, except that red-haired monster? Can you keep this melon ripe?" Cod looked at the creature asking the question and said innocently, "When you ask about keeping this melon ripe, you are already a greenhorn." The players were stunned for a moment, and then laughed at the same time. Ha 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 ha. You're being criticized. The truth. Damn it. You're so smart. Girl, how could you say these things? Cod answered innocently, "My parents told me these things." "Are your parents from the Shura tribe?" Cod, "Yes. Do you know my parents?" "No, but we want to meet them." "When will your parents come back?" Cod, "They went to pick fruit, and will be back soon." Liangting asked, "Little sister, how do you know we are creatures from outside?" Cod, "My parents told me. They said that when a creature I don't know comes in one day, it must be from outside." "Little sister, have you never been outside?" Cod looked aggrieved. "I want to go out, but my parents said we can't go out for now. We have to wait until we grow up before we can go out." "So do you want to go out?" Cod, "Yes." How pitiful. It seems that this little girl was born in the Shura Tower and has been trapped here since she was born and can't get out. "Who are you? Leave my daughter." An angry voice roared from a distance, and the players turned around and saw 2 figures approaching rapidly. The remnant soul of the Shura wizard, Shura clan, early stage of the god, the remnant soul of the 9th Shura Tower, Blood Shura, Shura clan, early stage of the god, the remnant soul of the 8th Shura Tower. Cod heard the voice and shouted happily, "Mom and Dad are back." Chapter 202, 6 Gods. The Blood Shura remnant soul looked ferocious and rushed towards Liangting, who was closest to Cod, and punched her with all his strength. While Cod was stunned, Liangting smiled and looked at the Blood Shura remnant soul calmly. The punch hit a hard shield. The peasant army was already standing in front of Liangting and blocked the attack. The Blood Shura remnant soul looked at the creatures in front of him in astonishment. They blocked his attack so easily? Exclamation mark. This was my full strength attack. The Shura wizard remnant soul flashed behind Cod, picked up his daughter and quickly retreated away. The Blood Shura remnant soul saw that his daughter had already moved away from the group of creatures, and he also flashed next to the mother and daughter with a gloomy face and asked, "Who are you? Why are you here?" The players stood up and looked at the Tashuras as if nothing had happened, without much expression on their faces. Their troops were able to deal with the 2 gods in the early stage. One was in the 9th copy and the other was in the 10th copy. Why were they still so weak? It was really strange. Liangting smiled and said, "We are from the human race. Please forgive us for disturbing you, Tashuras." The remnant soul of the Shura wizard said gloomily, "You are really presumptuous to show up in our home without our permission." Cod said, "Mom and Dad, they don't seem to be bad people. They are creatures from outside." The Blood Shura remnant soul saw that his daughter was not injured and knew that this group of creatures had no ill intentions. He gradually calmed down and asked, "What do you want to do by coming in?" Liangting, "To release the mythical beast Zuanwu, please give you a favor." The remnant soul of the Shura wizard said contemptuously, "Go ahead and release it. Why are you telling us this? We are not stopping you." Liangting said helplessly, "But to release the mythical beast Zuanwu, all the creatures sealed in the Shura tower must die within the same day. Only in this way can it be successfully released. So the human race wants to discuss this with you too. Can we?" "What did you say?" The remnant soul of the Shura wizard gritted his teeth and asked darkly. Liangting, "This is the premise for releasing the divine beast Zuanwu. You are just residual souls, so." Before she finished speaking, the Blood Shura remnant soul interrupted, "We are indeed just residual souls. Even if we die, we can be resurrected after one day, but our daughter is a flesh and blood body. Do you think we too will agree to you?" The players were stunned for a moment. Flesh and blood, not residual souls? That's right, these two Shuras can recognize the word remnant soul, but the information of COD only has one name. What's going on? The Shura wizard residual soul shouted angrily, "Never allow these creatures to hurt COD. Kill them." Everyone looked at the roaring woman speechlessly. "You two early gods are really not the opponents of us players. Can't you see what the situation is now? You are a mother, but you have to understand the situation, sister." However, what the players did not notice was that when Liangting said that she planned to kill all the creatures in the Shura tower at the same time within one day, 4 pairs of eyes were silently looking at this group of uninvited guests. Just as the players were about to continue communicating, a residual image rushed out and hit Liangting's shoulder, causing her health to drop by 1/5. If Liangting hadn't reacted quickly, her health would have dropped by half. The 4 animals that the players had not noticed had surrounded the players and were staring at them. The residual soul of a withered ox, a mid-stage divine spirit, the 7th Shura tower creature. The residual soul of a skeletal dog, a mid-stage divine spirit, the 6th Shura tower creature. The residual soul of a noisy bee, a mid-stage divine spirit, the 5th Shura tower creature. The residual soul of a birdfish, a mid-stage divine spirit, the 4th Shura tower creature. A cow-shaped creature that had obviously grown in size, but was very thin. A dog-shaped creature the size of a wolf with only skeletons. A bee-shaped creature the size of a baby with a yellow body. And a fish-shaped creature the size of a shark with wings. 4 mid-stage divine spirit creatures, plus 2 mid-stage divine spirit Shuras. The bosses from the 4th to the 9th Shura tower were all there. Fuck. This is a 24-player dungeon. 6 god bosses. 2 more will make 2 Majin tables. I told you. How could the 10th Shura tower be so simple? You seem very proud. Liangting showed a solemn expression and asked Blood Shura, "I just wanted to know why your Shura towers are connected." The Blood Shura's residual soul said, "We are all going to die. It's useless to know." Not wanting to let COD see the tense scene, the Shura wizard's residual soul took COD back to the cabin and said to the Blood Shura's residual soul before leaving, "Hurry up and solve it." The Blood Shura's residual soul didn't say anything as a tacit agreement. No mistakes in one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619. Liangting looked at the 5 divine creatures on the field and said to the team, "You 4 teams choose your opponents. Yi Jian, you come out. You and I will hold down the remaining soul of Blood Shura, and the other teams will deal with the opponents as quickly as possible." Yi Jian yawned and walked out of the team. He did not forget to turn back and taunt the players in his team, "Can you do it without me, the captain and the main force of the team? Go away, don't be the first to die. Our team wants to choose the sparrowfish. No one should compete with us. Why? Can't you choose a skeleton dog or a withered cow? Those 2 are so disgusting. They are suitable for the group of brainless reckless men in your team. Reckless. Without us to hold the front row, you will only be beaten." In order to choose their beloved enemies, the 4 teams started to fight each other directly. The 4 divine creatures didn't know whether to strike first for a moment. It seemed that these guys didn't have enough brains. They were afraid of being struck by lightning if they made a sneak attack. The Blood Shura remnant soul thought it was a bit ridiculous to see these fearless creatures. They were so ignorant when they were about to die, and they were so arrogant in front of 5 creatures in the realm of gods. He was still laughing in his heart. Suddenly, a lightning bolt fell from the sky and struck the Blood Shura remnant soul. The other 4 god remnant souls were stunned for a moment. They really would be struck by lightning. But why did it strike over there? Shouldn't it strike the group of psychopaths in front of him? After avoiding the tears, the Bloodsurer remnant soul was still surprised. Yi Jian had come behind him in advance and seized the opportunity to swing a few sword flowers and continuously slashed at the Bloodsurer remnant soul. The 4 gods saw the 2 creatures who suddenly attacked on the other side, turned their heads and looked over, and at this moment, the 4 teams attacked the creatures they chose at the same time. The team of Shan Wuang, agricultural army, chose the withered cow. This kind of large god can only be resisted by him. The shield stars of other teams may not be able to withstand it, and the opponent is still a mid-level god. The 5 members of the second team who temporarily lost the sword star, Yi Jian, chose the arrogant bee. This is the best looking and easier to bully among the 4 gods. The third team led by the mages the father, Lan Zifeng, chose a skeleton dog. The one who attacked before was the grass mud horse. It is fast, right? The binder of our mage team is targeting highly agile creatures like you. Let you feel the feeling of being kitted. The fourth team, which also has only 5 people, can only choose the sparrowfish. If you don't swim well, you will grow wings. I will break your wings soon. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203, The Powerful Yi Jian. The Bloodsurer remnant soul used his arms to block all of Yi Jian's sword flowers. Just as he was about to dodge and distance himself, Liang Ting used her skills to make several vines emerge from the ground and entangle the Bloodsurer remnant soul's legs. Feeling the inconvenience on his feet, the Bloodsurer remnant soul was annoyed and raised his feet to pull out the vines. Yi Jian shouted sword shadow in a low voice, and a residual light shot at the Bloodsurer remnant soul's shoulder. The latter just reacted and found that a bloody mark had been cut on his shoulder. After the Bloodsurer remnant soul broke free from the vines on the ground, he turned back angrily and was about to say something fierce, but Yi Jian had already appeared below him and kicked him down with a sweeping kick. The Bloodsurer remnant soul immediately jumped up to avoid it. Yi Jian ran behind him the moment the enemy jumped. The Bloodsurer remnant soul was still wondering why this creature wanted to run away. A shockwave sprayed out from Liang Ting's staff and hit him. Subconsciously, he crossed his hands against his chest to block it. The huge impact force caused the Bloodsurer remnant soul to be shaken several meters in the air. The landing position was exactly where Yi Jian arrived. Heavy sword. Yi Jian shouted, and the sword in his hand fiercely slashed on the back of the Bloodsurer remnant soul. A blood mark appeared on the back of the Bloodsurer remnant soul. With a low scream, the Bloodsurer remnant soul jumped away. Feeling the pain on his back, the Bloodsurer remnant soul was angry and surprised. The aura of these 2 creatures was about to reach the level of the Overlord. Logically, as a god, he could intimidate them. However, not only did he not show fear, but he was also extremely experienced in combat. He was actually injured twice in one encounter. Liang Ting walked up and whispered to Yi Jian, "This guy was hit by 2 of your attacks and 1 of mine, but his health was only reduced by 1/5. He's a bit difficult to deal with." Yi Jian responded with a row. "He's just an early stage deity. The 2 of us who are 3rd level can kill him with just a touch." Liang Ting shook her head. "Killing him is of little use. We can't really kill Cod. That girl is not a remnant soul." Yi Jian turned his head and asked, "Then what should we do? Do you have any other way to release Zuanwu?" Liang Ting continued to shake her head. "Beat him first, and then talk to him slowly." Yi Jian smiled and said, "Okay." The remnant soul of the Bloodsurer looked at the 2 creatures in front of him who were still chatting easily. He squinted his eyes and blood surged all over his body. Several blood beads appeared beside him, and it was obvious that he was ready to get serious. Yi Jian said disdainfully, "This blood is far inferior to that of a guy who owes souls and doesn't want to pay them back. Since you are serious, I will not be polite." Liang Ting saw Yi Jian's excited eyes and said helplessly, "Take it easy. It's not good to beat her father in front of a child. This will damage her father's dignity." Yi Jian saw a small figure in the gap of the wooden house window. I'm teaching you a truth, that fists are the hard truth. After saying that, he rushed towards the Bloodsurer remnant soul with all his strength, regardless of Liang Ting's obstruction. The blood beads beside the latter shot at Yi Jian like bullets. Yi Jian waved his sword to cut off most of the blood beads, but a few blood beads still hit Yi Jian. Yi Jian, who had lost 1/3 of his blood, didn't care and chopped off the head of the Bloodsurer remnant soul with all his strength. The Bloodsurer remnant soul was frightened by the momentum of the creature in front of him for a while, and raised his hand to grab the arm swinging the sword, but Yi Jian let go of the sword and threw it down, and took the sword with his left hand and stabbed the enemy's abdomen. The Bloodsurer remnant soul also grabbed the wrist holding the sword with his other hand. With his hands restricted, Yi Jian raised his head and slammed into the opponent's head. A feeling of dizziness briefly appeared in the Bloodsurer remnant soul's consciousness. Taking advantage of this moment, Yi Jian pulled out his hands, turned around and kicked the opponent. The Bloodsurer remnant soul retreated a few meters due to inertia after being kicked. Yi Jian continued to attack while swinging the sword. The Bloodsurer remnant soul was caught off guard by the attack of the creature in front of him. It was too strange. It was impossible for this realm to have such momentum when facing a creature of a higher level. The completely angry Bloodsurer remnant soul also became ferocious and rushed towards Yi Jian. The two figures collided with each other, and Yi Jian's blood volume dropped by half. His hands were also grabbed again. The Bloodsurer remnant soul opened his mouth to reveal sharp teeth and bit Yi Jian's neck deeply. Yi Jian's blood volume dropped rapidly, and his neck was severely injured. No matter how strong your momentum is, you will die here. However, a voice came into the ears of the Bloodsurer remnant soul. Are you a hybrid with a vampire? Are you biting my neck to suck my blood? I don't have any blood for you to suck, you bastard. Impossible. Why can you still struggle like this after I bit off a piece of flesh from your neck? Question mark? A healing light entered Yi Jian's body, and Liang Ting kept chanting in a low voice behind him. Healing light, healing wind, healing radiance, healing flash. Healing light and healing flash are single target treatments, while healing wind and healing radiance are group treatments. The latter two also help their teammates to raise their health. Yi Jian, whose health was originally at the bottom, was taken care of by Liang Ting one-on-one, and his health was raised again. When the Bloodsurer remnant soul was stunned, Yi Jian ignored the piece of flesh on his neck that was bitten off and kept shouting, sword blade, killing sword, heavy sword, shadow sword, continuous slash. The sword moves were not repeated once and continuously slashed the Bloodsurer remnant soul, and the latter's health dropped from 4/5 to half. For the creatures in planet, half of their health is already considered a serious injury. The Bloodsurer remnant soul wanted to pull away, but after being approached by Yi Jian, he would not allow you to escape so easily. He would kill you while you are sick. Suddenly, a flame exploded from Yi Jian's body, and Yi Jian was directly blown away several meters away, and 1/3 of his health was instantly lost. No mistake, one sentence, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Take a look. A healing light was transmitted to Yi Jian. After the state was restored, he stood up and looked at the remnant soul of the Shura wizard who walked out of the wooden house, muttering, "No martial ethics." The Bloodsurer remnant soul was supported by the remnant soul of the Shura wizard. The two Shuras were a little frightened by the creature holding the sword. Their Shura clan was one of the warlike races in the world of creatures. Although they seemed unfamiliar with the battles after many years, they still had some consciousness. Putting aside their strength, the creature in front of them was definitely more warlike than they were in their heyday. Liang Ting said to Yi Jian helplessly, "You are too reckless." Yi Jian took a deep breath and smiled. "Although I'm usually careless, don't forget that when I first started playing this game, I was a technical anchor." Liang Ting, who did you learn this reckless playing style from? Yi Jian, Fukai, that idiot. You have to say, his reckless playing style is really cool. If it weren't for the woman on the opposite side making trouble, I could really break the mentality of this male Shura. Seeing the two creatures chatting easily again, the Bloodsurer remnant soul no longer had the mentality just now, and said to the Shura wizard, "This creature is very good at fighting, and he is completely risking his life, and the creature over there can also heal him." The Shura Wizard's remnant soul stared heavily and said, obviously, the two of us are at the god level, but we are suppressed by two overlord level creatures. The Blood Shura remnant soul, you are not good at close combat. Once that lunatic gets close to you, you can't release witchcraft. He won't be afraid of the momentum exuded by the two of us. The Shura Wizard remnant soul immediately retorted, you can't fight him either. You are already seriously injured. It doesn't matter if you die, if you continue to fight. COD is still inside. The Blood Shura remnant soul felt strange after hearing this, but he couldn't feel what was strange about it. After all, he would be resurrected after one day of death. Yi Jian saw the two Shura remnant souls biting each other's ears and shouted impatiently, are you done yet? Are you going to fight or not? I haven't had enough fun yet. The Blood Shura remnant soul said solemnly, let Long Lan help. Chapter 204, Long Lan and Jize. The first team led by the peasant army was a little overwhelmed at this time. Although the withered cow remnant soul on the opposite side was also a god, its strength was in the middle stage and its body was huge. Every time the peasant army collided, it would lose half of itself, even if it was in full state. In addition, its skin was thick and its defense was extremely high. If it weren't for the two shield stars in the first team taking turns to bear the damage, it might not be able to withstand it. When the second team faced the remnant soul of the roaring bee, they thought that this cute creature team could hold it back at first, but they found that the middle stage of the god was after all the middle stage of the god. The second team, which lost Yi Jian, was close to the edge of collapse by every attack of the remnant soul of the roaring bee. Moreover, this remnant soul of the roaring bee had wind attribute skills. Although its wings were small and transparent, every time it flapped its wings, it would roll up a small hurricane. The damage was not high, but it was easy to disrupt the formation. The third team led by the Wind of the Mist was the easiest. Facing the extremely fast remnant soul of the skeleton dog, the 5 players in the mage team were all magicians and binders. The magician had burst damage, and the binder had deceleration, sealing, and restriction skills. It was more than enough to be equipped with only one holy healer. At this time, all members of Team 3 were at full health, but the skeleton dog remnant soul was already at half health. If it hadn't been for its fast speed and continuous dodging of the magician player's skill attacks, it would have probably waited a day for its resurrection to cool down. Team 4 was the worst off. The damage of the sparrowfish remnant soul was not high, but its skills were extremely disgusting. The river water was constantly driven by the sparrowfish remnant soul, and groups of water prisons imprisoned the players of Team 4. If it hadn't activated the water prison skill, the sparrowfish remnant soul would have been unable to attack, and it is estimated that the players of Team 4 would have been GG by now. Fortunately, the players of Team 4 were all level 3, with relatively high health, and the sparrowfish remnant soul could only activate 3 water prisons at a time. The other players who were not restricted could also attack the sparrowfish remnant soul, causing it to leave the range and give up control of the water prison. Damn, can anyone help our second team? It hurts so much to be injected by this bee. If you want to learn how to swim, you can come to our fourth team. Gurgle gurgle. What the hell, are you so bad? Our third team is almost done with the corpse dog remnant soul. As expected, the wizard is the boss. You can't do it. What is the first team doing? Why are they silent? We are being lifted up high. Do you want to try it? It's very cool. Liangting and Yi Jian also noticed the situation of the players in the army. Liangting said, no matter what, let's kill these Tushura remnant souls first, and deal with the remnant souls from number 4 to 9. We will find a way later. Anyway, this time we are opening up new land. Yi Jian waved his sword, and walked towards the enemy slowly. Suddenly, an earthquake made Yi Jian and Liangting alert. Not only the two of them, but even the players of the 4 teams and the 4 remnant souls of the god stopped attacking, and looked at the source of the vibration. The small flowers that were growing peacefully on the ground suddenly grew to half a person's height, and the nearby grass was rapidly growing with colorful flowers similar to morning glories. The players all used their identification to identify the half-person high flowers. Longlan, late-stage divine spirit, creature of the 3rd Shura Tower. Not a residual soul, the boss of the 3rd Shura Tower, and a late-stage divine spirit. Everyone was a little uneasy. What the hell is this? 7 gods in one dungeon, and it's for 24 people. Tell me how 24 people can pass the level. Tell me. How about we let Zuan-Wu sleep a little longer? This dungeon is a bit demanding on players. Liang Ting immediately ordered, summon Jizai and let him restrain the Blood Shura's remnant soul. He is seriously injured and poses no threat. Mage, Lan Zifeng, come here. I will help you restrain the Shura wizard's remnant soul. Jian Crossing, Yi Jian, you restrain Long Lan. I will try my best to heal you. Don't risk your life too much. I may not be able to take care of you. Lan Zifeng immediately handed over the captain's authority and used the flash skill to appear next to Liang Ting, launching a burst skill on the Shura wizard's remnant soul. Yi Jian summoned a dominant chicken without saying anything. A chicken the size of a small train appeared out of thin air. Yi Jian said to the chicken, "Chicken, do you see that half-dead guy? Go and get him. Don't let him free his hands, but be careful." Yi Jian was about to rush towards Long Lan as soon as he finished speaking, but the chicken rushed towards Long Lan faster than him. Yi Jian was stunned for a moment and shouted, "Wrong, wrong, not over there. Come back. You are a dominant chicken, and you want to get a late-stage divine dragon orchid. You are more reckless than me." However, the strange thing is that after the chicken jumped in front of Long Lan did not attack the chicken. Instead, it swayed in the wind and kept approaching the chicken. The chicken sniffed the smell of Long Lan and then did something that surprised Yi Jian. After sniffing Long Lan, the chicken began to dig a pit next to Long Lan, and the action was exactly the same as a dog paddling. After digging, it raised one of its hind legs and began to urinate in the pit. The players were all shocked. "No, is this how you insult her? I water my flowers now, but you just pee on them?" The amazing thing is that Long Lan felt the chicken peeing in the pit beside her, but she didn't attack the chicken. Instead, she kept stroking the chicken with her petals. Finally, Long Lan shed a petal and floated towards the chicken. The chicken opened its mouth and swallowed the petal, then lay down beside Long Lan with satisfaction and a happy expression. System notification. Player Jian Crossing successfully conquered the third Shura Tower. Is this possible? The fastest boss clearance in history. Can you believe that a late stage god was solved with a P? No mistakes. 1 post, 1 content, 1619, 1 book, 1 bar. Does a chicken's urine have any ingredients that help creatures upgrade? You'll know if you drink a sip. Not only the players were stunned, but the Shura remnants and the 4 god remnants were a little at a loss. We asked you to come out to help, not to let you come out to be cute. We water you every day. There are also many remnants of withered cows and skeleton dogs peeing around you. Yi Jian found that the status of the chicken showed a growing buff because of the petals over there. Liang Ting made a prompt decision. "Master, Lan Zifeng, that wizard's residual soul depends on you. Jiangxing, Yi Jian. Kill the Blood Shura residual soul." Yi Jian and Lan Zifeng both looked at the Shura residual souls. The latter two creatures felt angry and afraid. They were angry because these creatures wanted to fight them to death again, and they were afraid because they knew that they had a high probability of not winning, and then COD would be in danger. Yi Jian said to Lan Zifeng, "I'm going to kill the Blood Shura soul. Don't let the wizard soul bother me." Lan Zifeng smiled and said, "Don't be too confident. Maybe I can deal with the opponent faster than you." After that, Lan Zifeng shouted to the wizard soul, "That woman over there. I'm going to be serious. You must block her." Just as the Shura wizard soul was about to let the Blood Shura soul escape with COD, Yi Jian rushed up and whispered, "Kill sword." Yi Jian's normal running speed suddenly skyrocketed. He appeared in front of the Blood Shura soul in a very short time. The sword blade slashed directly at the opponent. The Blood Shura soul dodged. He was really scared of this madman because of his serious injury. The Shura wizard's remnant soul raised his hand and prepared to use skills to attack Yi Jian. Lan Zifeng shouted at this time, "Flame bomb, molten mountain eruption, sunlight fall." One skill after another directly bombarded the wizard's remnant soul, but in order to help the Blood Shura's remnant soul, the latter chose to stand still and resist these skills, and his health dropped a lot. He shot out an ice cone and hit Yi Jian, and Yi Jian's health dropped by half. The damage of the magic boss is high, but it's useless. As soon as Yi Jian finished speaking, several healings were transmitted to Yi Jian. Under the stunned expressions of the Blood Shura's remnant soul and the Shura wizard's remnant soul, the slash hit the Blood Shura's face heavily. Die. Suddenly a small figure appeared in front of the Blood Shura's remnant soul, opened his hands, closed his eyes, and shouted, "Don't kill my father." The blade stopped abruptly and stopped close to Cod's forehead. Chapter 205, Shura Tower. You're going to die. Yi Jian almost chopped down with his sword, cold sweat dripping down his face, and angrily shouted at Cod. Cod said firmly, "Don't bully my parents." The Shura remnant souls immediately stepped forward to protect Cod, a little surprised why this creature stopped killing. Yi Jian said, "What do you mean I bullied your parents? It was obviously your parents who started it first." Liangting and Lan Zifan came up, gently pulled Yi Jian, and whispered to remind him, "Well, it was indeed us who started it first." Yi Jian was speechless. Liangting said, "Shura seniors, we humans have no intention of making enemies with you two. We just want to release Zuan Wu." The four god remnant souls in the players stopped, and the two camps faced each other. Very good half-time break, waiting for the second half to kick off. The Shura wizard's remnant soul protected Cod with one hand, and helped up the Blood Shura remnant soul with the other hand, and responded in an angry tone, "We have never stopped you, and you entered a home without permission." Liangting was a little annoyed. It didn't make sense. Yi Jian didn't like such an arrogant woman, so he directly said, "What's the matter? Didn't we come up to communicate with you first? Were you the first to say that we wanted to fight? You are the good ones, and we are the bad ones. Do you believe it or not? I will chop you up and send 2 sets of 3-year college entrance examination and 5-year simulation to your daughter." Although the Shura wizard's remnant soul didn't know what Yi Jian meant by 3 years and 5 years, he knew that he was not a good person when he heard the arrogant tone, and he was immediately furious. The Blood Shura remnant soul held her back, signaling not to be impulsive. The two camps were evenly matched, and even his side was a little bit defeated. If it weren't for his daughter standing in front of him, he would probably have died here. Liangting glanced at Yi Jian. Ever since this guy knew that Long Kui had ascended to the divine spirit and had been approaching him everywhere, he became inexplicably angry. Is this how all couples get along now? You humans can negotiate directly with senior Zuan Wu. There is no need to waste time on us. The Blood Shura remnant soul interrupted the cycle. Liangting responded, "We do want to negotiate with senior Zuan Wu, but we can't see him unless we clear all the Shura towers at the same time." The Blood Shura remnant soul, who said there is no way. "Senior Zuan Wu is in the highest Shura tower. You can just go in. The highest Shura tower. Isn't that the Shura tower number 1 copy?" Yi Jian, you are kidding. We have tried all the Shura towers, and there is nothing in that Shura tower. Only an island and an ocean. There is nothing on the island. Liangting thought for a while. You mean that island is Zuan Wu? Yeah, don't you know? Embarrassed, the players present were speechless for a moment. It seemed that we were going too far. We didn't realize Zuan Wu's identity and came to destroy other people's families. Why do we feel so like villains? Yi Jian gritted his teeth. Damn it, that old immortal Fang Beast fooled us. Don't let me meet him next time. I must cook him. The Blood Shura remnant soul said speechlessly, "Since you know the whereabouts of senior Zuan Wu, please leave our home." Liangting hurriedly apologized. "I'm sorry, both of you. It's us humans who are rude. I have one last question. We will leave immediately after asking." The Shura remnant souls did not speak. Liangting asked, "Why are you all remnant souls, while Cod and Long Lan are living beings? And why are Shura towers 3 to 10 connected?" The Shura remnant souls looked at each other, and then slowly explained, "It's no big deal to tell you. Back then, the Shura tribe was at war with Zuan Wu. The Shura tribe was defeated and forced to retreat. At that time, the Shura tribe had a baby, that is, Cod, who was not taken away with them. All the residual souls of the Shura clan were sealed in their respective Shura towers, and as a baby, Cod could not survive alone in this sea area. It was senior Han Shura who used all his energy to walk out of the Shura tower to find senior Zuan Wu and asked Zuan Wu to let Cod enter the Shura tower together so that the Shura people could take care of her. As for Long Lan, she was actually Cod's mother. During the battle, Cod's mother gave birth prematurely due to injuries. In the end, she gave birth to Cod with her last breath, and left it to the two of us to take care of her. When Senior Hanshiro asked Senior Zuanwu, he also asked to save Cod's mother. Senior Zuanwu agreed and used a ray of his own energy to let Cod's mother accompany Cod in the form of Longlan. As for the connection between Ashura Towers, it was forcibly opened by Senior Zuanwu in order to take care of Cod's growth. Lan Zifeng muttered, "It's so rough. You think you are writing a novel?" Liangting continued to ask, "Who is Hanshura?" The second highest Shura Tower is where Hanshura is sealed, but because he forcibly left the Shura Tower, Hanshura has fallen into a deep sleep. The players looked at Cod, who was riding on the back of the remnant soul that had transformed back into a normal yak, and looking at everyone warily, and felt a little helpless for a moment. The damn official always came up with these heartbreaking stories. Liangting, according to what you said, Zuanwu was not sealed, but you were the ones who were sealed? The residual soul of Blood Shura had a strange expression, helpless and irritable. At the beginning, the clan leader thought that Zuanwu was seriously injured and sent 10,000 clansmen to transform into Shura Tower to suppress Zuanwu. We obeyed the clan leader, but we didn't expect that. Even if we transformed into Shura Tower, we couldn't suppress Senior Zuanwu. Later, we couldn't leave Shura Tower because we found that once we left Shura Tower, we would die completely in a very short time. The funny thing is that, in order to protect us, Senior Zuanwu would rather stay here for countless years and make sure that we can survive, because once Senior Zuanwu leaves, Shura Tower will collapse and we will die completely. This version is much more realistic. For example, what the beast said is more sincere and convincing. This is a level that the official planner of dogs should have. The players all believed it without a doubt, because the other party had no reason to deceive them. Once Zuanwu was not in the number 1 Shura Tower, he would come back to settle accounts with them. Damn it. I will catch Fang Shao and whip his corpse for 2 weeks when I get out. What the hell have we done in this period of time? Do you know how I've been spending the past few weeks? I've been tortured to death in different Shura Towers every day. And you tell me that I can pass the level directly? So we are not going to fight? Then I was just pushed by that withered bull for a long time, so let it go. Did I say anything after being chased by a dog for a long time? Liangting apologized again and said, "It is indeed our human race that was rude. I apologize to you two again." The Blood Shura remnant soul asked, "What is your relationship with Senior Zuanwu? Why do you want to release Senior Zuanwu?" Liangting, "One of the beliefs of our human race has always been Zuanwu. He can be regarded as an ancestor without blood relationship." The Tashura remnant souls were confused by the words of this human. He is the ancestor, but he has no blood relationship? Forcibly recognize the ancestor? Liangting signaled the players to activate the scroll, to return to the city and leave. Liangting smiled at you. "Jua, I'll bring you a gift next time." You nodded obediently. "Thank you, auntie." Liangting put away her smile. "Call me sister." You stopped talking, and the players laughed out loud. When Yi Jian left, he said to the Blood Shura remnant soul, "Brother, keep your woman in check. If you go out so arrogantly, you'll get beaten up." When the Shura wizard remnant soul was about to go berserk, the players had already disappeared. You asked, "Mom and Dad, are they out?" The practicing Shura remnant soul nodded, and you said enviously, "Jua wants to go out too." Mom and Dad, look. There's a big lizard over there. At this time, Jizai was still lying comfortably next to Longlan, snoring, and Yi Jian had forgotten about him. After a while, Yi Jian entered the instance again, and called Jizai back to the mount space. When he left, he suddenly asked the Tashura remnant souls, "If Zuanwu is released, will you, the 10,000 Shuras, be sentenced to death?" The Shura wizard remnant soul did not speak, while the Blood Shura remnant soul said, "Leave quickly, you are not welcome here." Chapter 206, Movements in the European Server. Standing in front of Shura Tower number 1, Lan Zifeng wondered, "Strange, I could enter before, why can't I enter now?" Liangting, "I guess Senior Zuanwu doesn't want the remaining souls on Zuanwu Island to die like this." Yi Jian looked disdainful on the surface, but he was relieved in his heart. He said stubbornly, "TSK, if you can't get in, you can't get in. We in the Chinese server don't have time to slowly grind on this island." Liang Ting looked at Yi Jian and smiled without saying a word and asked, "How is your chicken?" Yi Jian, it still prompts growing, showing that there is the breath of the four divine beasts Azure Dragon in the body. Lan Zifeng widened his eyes and said enviously, "No way, no, why is there the breath of the Azure Dragon on Xuanwu Island?" Liang Ting smiled. Xuanwu and Azure Dragon are both four divine beasts. It's not surprising to have a trace of Azure Dragon's breath. Okay, let's go. Post the information we got on the forum, and remind the players not to hurt COD even if they enter. Yi Jian gritted his teeth. I want to find Fang Xiao now, and teach him a lesson. Liang Ting disbanded the troops, and said to Yi Jian, I say, shouldn't you give Long Kui an answer? It's not a solution, to keep dragging it out like this. Nong Jun followed up, it's just a game, you don't even have the courage to do that. Lan Zifeng laughed and said, you're not still a virgin, are you? Yi Jian was embarrassed and angry, it's none of your business. Everyone was speechless. This guy's like a menstrual period now. He gets angry when Long Kui is mentioned. He obviously cares about her, but doesn't admit it. He is more hypocritical than the king of gigolos. Liang Ting concluded, just treat Xuanwu Island as a level up dungeon for the third transformation. Since Xuanwu is not going to be born, let's just go with the flow. We have a lot of things to do next in the Chinese server. Everyone, I'm leaving first. The players and the troops chose to return to the city. Only Yi Jian was left in the number 1 Shura Tower dungeon. For a moment, he didn't know where to go. Long Kui was either in the extreme cold region or in Jiushan Xuandu. He really didn't dare to return casually. Just go to the Chunhyang region for a stroll. I haven't been to the Chunhyang region since it was developed. It's good to explore it. While the Chinese and European servers were constantly developing the Xuanwu Island Sea and Iron Prison area, the 3 servers of Japan, South Korea, and Southeast Asia successfully entered the second turn era, and many players in the US and Russian servers have also been promoted to the first turn. The current situation of the 3 servers of Japan, South Korea, and Southeast Asia is to see who will be the first to open up the area. Compared with the Korean and Southeast Asian servers, the Japanese server is extremely difficult to expand outward because it is located on the sea. To the west of the Rune Realm Sea is the Nine Heavens Xuandu area of the Chinese server. The sea area around the Chinese server has been developed almost, so there is no need to explore the surrounding area. During this period, the Japanese server sent 3 exploration teams to explore in the southeast and north directions at the same time. If they find a vast area like the Chinese server, the Japanese server does not mind moving the development center to the land. However, what the Japanese players do not know is that above the Rune Realm Sea, beyond the two seas, is the Endless Territory area, where the Korean server is located. What the Korean server didn't know was that although the Endless Territory was huge, it was surrounded by the sea on 3 sides. It was just that the Korean server had not been able to explore it thoroughly for a while, and the remaining side was not close to the sea, and the area bordering it was exactly the Soltai area of the Russian server. What the Russian server didn't know was that the Soltai area bordered not only the Endless Territory of the Korean server to the east, but also the Iron Prison area to the west. The reason why the creatures in the Soltai area of the Russian server mostly used spiritual soul attacks was because they were affected by the aura emitted by the strong men in the cells in the Iron Prison area. The Japanese server has now conquered 80% of the Rune Realm Sea, and most of the creatures in the sea have allied with the human race of the Japanese server. Because the Endless Territory was too huge, the Korean server only conquered half of the area. The Southeast Asian server has already made a name for itself in the desert area. The creatures in the desert rarely harass the human race. Now the Southeast Asian server has started a retaliatory war, and the creatures near the desert city have been taught a lesson by the players of the Southeast Asian server. In the Iron Prison area, nearly 70 cells have been cleared by European players in a week. However, except for the abyss-born creatures Iohei, all the other cells that have been cleared are from various gods in the world of creatures. As more and more cells are cleared, the level of European players has also been significantly improved. Along with this, the atmosphere in the Iron Prison area has gradually become more violent. It is precisely because of this situation that when European players conquer the cells, it is extremely difficult to communicate with the creatures in these cells, let alone make friends. Under the iron prison area, in a space as big as a football field, a woman with grey skin, wearing a pure black cloak, and extremely beautiful is sleeping in the center of the space. After turning over, the woman woke up slowly, sat up lazily, sniffed the surroundings, and said to herself, "The seal is missing 1/3, it seems I'm dreaming again." She yawned, continued to lie down, and planned to sleep, turned over for a while, and suddenly sat up. It's not a dream. Is it really missing 1/3? Why is it like this? She raised her head, and felt a movement on the ground, wondering, where did this group of creatures come from? Why do they look so familiar? I seem to have seen them somewhere. Human race. That's right. It's the human race. How is it possible? Didn't the human race have been wiped out? But it doesn't matter, since you are helping me to unlock the seal. When I get out, I will use the extermination of the race as your award. At the same time as the woman woke up, a child creature deep in the firing area in the European server also opened his eyes. Deep in the extremely hot firing, there is a space with a pleasant temperature. There is nothing in the space except a lake, and there is only a lotus root in the lake. The child creature sat on the lotus root. His smart eyes were sometimes confused, sometimes worried, and sometimes excited. After so many years, you finally woke up. Haha, the fourth dragon emperor of the evil dragon. I have been waiting for you for countless years. It has been peaceful for so many years, and I don't know how many creatures will die this time. What are you afraid of? I'm here. How can he run away? In fact, it is also good to practice here all the time. What are you thinking? How can practicing here be as fun as fighting? The child kept talking to himself. As the child woke up above the firing, the originally hot temperature became more explosive. The volcanoes everywhere erupted lava, and the temperature continued to spread to the surrounding areas. In addition to the Umayo area, European server players in the three areas of Yunhei Forest, Xiapo Ridge, and Tileo area all felt obvious heat. The woman below the iron prison also felt a temperature change. She yawned and muttered to herself, "This smell. It turns out that you, a schizophrenic guy, are here too. But that's okay. I've been thinking about you the whole time. You haven't been sleeping with me for so long, have you? I'm so touched." "That's okay. We haven't finished the fight before. This time when I get out, I'll completely twist off your 3 heads." Little Nizza. Chapter 207. Lu Dongban's test. Strange. Why is it so hot all of a sudden? Is the air conditioner in the official computer room broken? It could also be that the official website is short of funds for the love power generation program, so they turned off the air conditioner in the game. That pervert over there, please put on some clothes. I'm sweating while playing a game. Is the air conditioner in my virtual warehouse short-circuited? Feeling the heat, the European players finally discovered that the temperature was coming from the Ring of Fire. BG William asked the players to explore the Ring of Fire, and they got feedback that the health of this group of players dropped before they even stepped into the border of the Ring of Fire. With the speed of blood loss, let alone entering, you can probably go offline and use the air conditioner if you stay outside for a minute. In the Chunayang area, Lu Dongban was receiving friends by the lake. White Fang and the cat asked the tribesmen to pick the fruits in the area and put them on the ground, while the 2 creatures lay down beside them and took a nap. Lu Dongban smiled and said to the fat man in front of him, "You have been hiding so well all these years." Zhu Beiji held the fruit in his hands and ate it while saying, "I'm a creature at the peak of the Holy Spirit. What else can I do if I don't hide?" Lu Dongban picked up a fruit and took a bite. "Don't think I can't see that your peak god realm has been suppressed by a whole realm with a natural willpower. If the great powers of Buddhism knew that you use their artifacts to do these ridiculous things, they would probably be mad to death." Zhu Beiji sat alone and said, "Back then, all the creatures above the Holy Spirit realm rushed to the void. So many creatures died in Taoism and Buddhism, and the GGO was almost destroyed. Even Monkey King was eventually forced to fossilize. I, the old pig, still have self-knowledge." Lu Dongban was silent for a while and said, "Some things cannot be avoided. At the beginning, my friends all advised me to escape from the world, but I still chose to escape into the void. In the end, it was not me who died. Now I'm the only one left among the 8 immortals. Zhu Beiji also put down the fruit. It's a disaster to escape. I don't know when the next void will come. Lu Dongbin, it won't be too far away. The human race has entered the world now. Zhu Beiji was about to speak when he suddenly felt a spatial fluctuation and looked at Lu Dongbin in confusion. Lu Dongbin smiled and said, "Little guy of the human race, it's rare that my Chunhyang region is so lively today." After Yi Jian was teleported to the Chunhyang region, he suddenly saw 2 people sitting in front of him, one fat and one thin. He identified them and said, "Zhu Beiji, the peak of the god, the realm is self-suppressed to the peak of the Holy Spirit." Lu Dongbin. After the 3rd transfer of the Chinese server players, the information recognized is more powerful than before. Yi Jian was stunned after recognizing the names of the 2 people in front of him. What the hell? Isn't Zhu Beiji in the European server? How can he appear in the Chunhyang region? And why can't Lu Dongbin recognize the realm? Exclamation mark. Lu Dongbin has become accustomed to the rudeness of the human race. Every time he sees the human race, he will be swept once, making himself like a grown-up girl. "Little guy from the human race, what are you doing here?" Zhu Beiji asked. Yi Jian was a little surprised by the 2 big guys and hurriedly replied, "I came to hide. No, I came to observe." Lu Dongbin smiled and said, "There is nothing here for you to observe, except cats and dogs." Zhu Beiji interrupted and asked, "Little guy, do you have any wine?" Yi Jian's face turned black. "How can you, a celebrity, have no idle burden at all? You want wine right away." "No, I can't drink." Zhu Beiji misunderstood. "What? You won't live long? I don't think you'll be fine." Yi Jian was speechless. Lu Dongbin saw that Yi Jian had a sword on his back and smiled and asked, "Little guy, do you use a sword too? Otherwise, why would I carry a sword if I don't use it? Cut vegetables?" Zhu Beiji saw Yi Jian's impatience and laughed. "Chunhyangzi, this little guy is too stupid and can't understand the meaning of your words." Yi Jian was stunned when he heard Zhu Beiji's words. What does it mean? Is there something behind the words? Ding, players are requested to pass the test of the pure Yang Sword Immortal. Success can lead to the 4th job. What? Fuck. Is this a sentence from Lu Dongbin to teach me swordsmanship? He knelt on the ground and shamelessly shouted, "Dad. No, big brother. Please teach me swordsmanship." Lu Dongbin smiled and said nothing. Zhu Beiji was also amused by such a shameless human creature. He is quite smart, Chunhyangzi. How about I help you test him? Lu Dongbin, thank you. When Yi Jian was still confused about what the test was, Zhu Beiji appeared in front of him without knowing when, and stretched out his hand to press on his crown. Yi Jian subconsciously dodged, and Zhu Beiji admired him. "Not bad, you can dodge. Next, I will use some strength. If you hold on, Chunhyangzi should be willing to teach you." As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Beiji disappeared again, and appeared behind him, kicking Yi Jian in the waist. Yi Jian hurriedly drew out his sword to block, but the powerful force still knocked him away. He turned in the air and landed smoothly. A voice came from behind again. "During the battle, don't lose your mind at any time, and pay attention to the enemy's every move." "Broken sword," Yi Jian shouted. He slashed in the direction of the sound with all his strength, but there was nothing. Zhu Beiji's voice came from behind again. "When encountering a fast enemy, your eyes can't keep up, so use your ears. No mistake. One song, one post, one content, one 6, one book, one bar, one look. Use your ears. Your voice is like a ghost floating around. Use your ears. Even if you give me a hearing aid, I can't hear it." A sword flower continued to attack the other side, and the voice came to the other side again. "This way." Looking at the human race who was constantly being teased, Lu Dongbin gave a reminder. "Don't think about controlling the sword. Communicate with the sword. It is your partner. Follow the sword." He kept turning his head to look for Zhu Beiji's figure. "Follow the sword? How to follow?" Zhu Beiji's voice came again. "Be careful. I'm going to beat you this time. You be careful." Before Zhu Beiji finished speaking, Yi Jian subconsciously drew a sword flower and cut a solid body. Cut it? Lu Dongbin's eyes lit up, and Zhu Beiji's voice came again. Not bad, but it's just my afterimage. This time it's your left leg. I left your sister. You're going too far. He raised his right foot and kicked forward, and felt that he had kicked a solid body again. Yi Jian's sword-wielding hand did not stop, and immediately slashed 2 consecutive times behind him. Zhu Beiji's figure suddenly appeared, and 2 shallow blood marks appeared on his chest. Yi Jian had never experienced such a thrilling and disgusting battle. When he saw Zhu Beiji being injured by himself, he could not react for a while. Did I chop the old pig? The stunned Zhu Beiji suddenly became transparent and gradually disappeared. Yes, although it is only a clone of me, it has my strength. It is rare to be able to cut it. Zhu Beiji's voice came from a distance. Yi Jian turned his head and looked over. Why are you still sitting there? Exclamation mark. It turns out that you have not moved. Lu Dongbin smiled and said, you just heard that it was the left side. Why did you lift your right foot? Yi Jian subconsciously answered, I don't know, I just felt that a pig was nudging my right foot. Zhu Beiji, I'm offended. Lu Dongbin laughed, and a splash of water suddenly rose in the middle of the lake. The splash of water turned into a water sword, and flew over, and stopped in front of Yi Jian. Cut off this sword, and I will teach you. Lu Dongbin smiled faintly. He clearly said he would hurt Zhu Beiji, and now he has brought out a water sword. He clearly recited a few poems when he was the 4th turn of the king of freeloaders. I will just take a physical education test? Question mark? Yi Jian stared at the water sword. Zhu Beiji stood up and said to Lu Dongbin, Chun Yangzi, I should go too. I have to find that monkey before the void attacks. Lu Dongbin did not speak. Zhu Beiji picked up a few fruits, and before leaving, he said to Lu Dongbin, this little guy of the human race has a talent for swords. Chapter 208, Strange Chinese Clothes. When Yi Jian heard Zhu Beiji was about to leave, he suddenly remembered something. Old pig. No. Senior pig. No. Wu Neng. Yi Jian didn't know what to call him for a moment. Zhu Beiji's honest face suddenly darkened. Wu Neng is the name my master called you. Do you want to be beaten by me, old pig? Zhu Beiji stared and said, senior, I was wrong. I want to know in which direction the human race you first met was. Yi Jian immediately inquired about the location of the European server. Zhu Beiji was originally released in the Yunhei forest of the European server. Zhu Beiji was puzzled. Why are you asking this? Yi Jian lied. That's a branch of our human race. They moved away because of a conflict. Now our human race plans to communicate with them and strive for harmony between the 2 families. Zhu Beiji agreed after listening. That's right. I'm not saying that you humans are just cunning. There are always conflicts in the same race that can't be resolved. Can't you just talk it out? Yi Jian continued. That's right. I heard that you came from their senior, so I asked you about it. Zhu Beiji thought for a while, raised his head and asked dully, no, how do you know I came from there? I haven't told anyone else. Yi Jian was stunned for a moment. How can you be so smart? You should maintain your honest and stupid personality. How can I explain you like this? Damn official. No, the saint of the human race told us in a dream. The official has to take the blame. This has always been the law of players. Yi Jian's answer not only stunned Zhu Beiji, but also Lu Dongbin, who asked, has the saint of the human race entered the world? Yes, of course. Otherwise how would we know this? Yi Jian answered confidently. Lu Dongbin and Zhu Beiji looked at each other, and Zhu Beiji immediately said, Chun Yangzi, I'm leaving. I'll leave this to you. Lu Dongbin nodded, and a space crack appeared beside Zhu Beiji. Yi Jian was anxious. Why did he leave so soon? Senior, you haven't told me the location of the human race over there. Yi Jian shouted at Zhu Beiji, who had already stepped into the space crack. Northwest. As soon as the voice fell, the space crack disappeared. Yi Jian hurriedly sent a private message to Tingch, Liangting, about the direction. Lu Dongbin said, little guy, you will stay here with me for the next few days. When you cut off the water sword, you can leave. Yi Jian said TSK, it's just a water sword. What's so difficult about it? He waved the sword in his hand and cut it casually, and then the sword broke. The weapon is damaged and cannot be used. The durability cannot be repaired. Damn it. This is a 3rd level orange honor weapon. Do you know how much honor points it costs to redeem it? Exclamation mark. And it's gone just like that. At this time in Jiushan Zuandu, Liang Ting received a private message from Jian Crossing, Yi Jian. After reading the content, she immediately posted the message on the world channel. Master Jiangxing is awesome. He found the location of the European server right away. I usually think that idiot is not very reliable, but I didn't expect that he would be the one to be the one at the critical moment. By the way, where has this guy been these 2 days? Long Kui comes to ask about everything every day, and I don't know how to answer. Do you think Long Kui is crazy to like such a coward? Just wait and see. It's fun to abuse his wife now, but he will chase her to the crematorium later. The general direction of the European server has been determined, and the next step is to wait for the players to explore all the way there. I also need to prepare for the battle. Every time the exploring players set foot in a region, the large group behind them will have to go through a battle. Otherwise, it is unrealistic to rely on assassin players to explore alone, and there is no return point. In the next few days, the players of the Chinese server were unusually quiet, which made the undercovers in other servers who had been on the official website of the Chinese server a little strange. Why are these guys so quiet all of a sudden? It's not like their style. After asking each Chinese server player, they all got a unified answer. That is, they put their minds on external exploration and conquering regions. Players from various servers, the Chinese server is so quiet, I always feel something is wrong. Do you think they have found a new dungeon? Impossible. If there is a new dungeon, they will definitely post a guide on the forum. Otherwise, how can players pass it? I always feel that they are holding back something bad. I asked my friend in China, and he said that they are indeed expanding the territory. You have already successfully completed the 3rd level, but you are still working so hard. Is the game so inward looking now? Not only other servers feel strange, but even the creatures of the allied races in the Chinese server feel uncomfortable. The human race, which had been noisy before, is now particularly quiet. They are not used to the fact that the human race is not seeking death. In the Kra tribe, Xinjiang, daughter, what have the human race been doing during this period? There are no human races making trouble around the tribe now. They said they were going to visit relatives, that is, to visit another group of human races who came to our side before. No mistakes. 1 post, 1 content, 1 book, 1 forum, 1619, 1 book, 1 forum. Xinjiang, that's good. It's rare that the area around our tribe is quiet now, and there are no more humans howling. In the southern waters, Fang Xiao asked, Old Whale, what's going on with the humans now? Are they going to quit the work on Zuanwu Island? Jingshan, I don't know either, but I heard before that the humans are going to find you, hang you up, and feed you mustard. Although I don't know what mustard is, I know it's not a good thing. As soon as I hear it, have you offended the humans? Fang Xiao was surprised. No, I haven't had any contact with the humans after I told them what happened on Zuanwu Island. In the Shitan tribe of the 10,000 mountains, Yuan Fang felt that the various overlord creatures in the 10,000 mountains had started fighting again. He was dazed and confused. Since the humans haven't come recently, these guys have become so presumptuous. It's true that a large team is harder to lead. By the way, what have the humans been doing all this time? In the Red Fox tribe of Fenghua continent, Xian was a little annoyed when she saw Fukai coming to harass her again. Brother Fukai, how come you have time to visit me today? Fukai said familiarly, what do you mean by visiting? I have already regarded this place as my own home. Come on, Sister Xian, I bought this necklace from the Spirit Fish tribe. Look at the color of this pearl. Do you think it is made of blood? I guess you will like it, so I give it to you. Xian smiled, but roared in her heart, who would like pearls that look like blood? Why don't you humans take him in? In the Silver Fire area, Jihuo, Xian, Kinna and Yangxing were gathered together. Kinna touched Xian's belly with joy. Your belly is so big. When will the little one come out? Xian smiled and said, the human doctor said that the due date is the 1st of next month. He also gave me a calendar. You know what? These calendars are quite convenient. Yang Xing stared at Jiahuo, and Jiahuo was scared of him. Why is brother Yang Xing so hateful every time he sees me? Kinna asked, have you thought of a name? Xian, the human race suggested that we name the child Zhang Wei, saying that he will have a bright future and can be a lawyer when he grows up, although I don't know what a lawyer is. Kinna muttered, Zhang Wei, that's weird. By the way, brother Jiahuo, why don't the human race come here so often recently? Jiahuo shook his head, I don't know. When I went to their place to check the house prices a few days ago, I found that there were not many human race people here. Xian was stunned for a moment. Are you planning to buy a house in the human race's main city? Do you have enough soul value? Jiahuo still shook his head. Not enough, but the human race said that they can give a down payment first and then pay it back slowly, but they will charge a little more soul value as interest. Chapter 209, Red Horse Region. The Red Horse region is located in the northwest of the Fenghua continent. Chinese players have explored this area. Although the area is small, there are 10 races of creatures living there. However, none of the races in this area has gods. When Chinese players first explored this area, they found that the races in this area were extremely violent. After observing for a week, there was not a single day without fighting. Today, 2 races fight each other, and tomorrow, several races fight in groups. If there are any resources for them to fight for, it would be fine. However, the players did not find anything worth fighting for. After all, the races are far apart. Some players tried to negotiate with the nearest race. As soon as they stepped into the tribe, a group of antelope-like creatures with scales all over their bodies and walking upright on their feet rushed out to attack the players. If these players had not already been transferred to the 3rd level and were all assassins, they might have to confess, and there would be no negotiation. Not only this reconnaissance team, Liangting received feedback from 10 reconnaissance teams and found information feedback from 10 races one after another. Red Sheep Tribe, Red Rat Tribe, Red Bull Tribe, Red Dog Tribe, Red Bee Tribe, Red Cat Tribe, Red Pig Tribe, Red Turtle Tribe, Red Weasel Tribe, Red Deer Tribe. Liangting was surprised. Why are all the tribes named after the word red? This area is also called the Red Horse area. There must be a connection. Why are these crazy bulls so irritable? I didn't do anything. I was pushed by a group of pigs while playing a game. I'm not a cabbage. Fairy tales are true. Today I finally saw a tortoise that can outrun a rabbit. What's that? I have a group of mice with middle parted hairstyles. Haha, have you seen the blue cat in Blue Cat's Naughty 3000 questions? We have Beiji and Roaring Sky Dog fighting here. Do you want to come and have a look? Liangting felt very strange when she saw the various jokes made by players on the World Channel. Normally, shouldn't these species be very docile? Why are the players' feedback so violent? Even if this is a game, it shouldn't be like this. Fortunately, these races are not strong, so players can crush them all the way. There are 50,000 players on duty today to conquer the area. That's enough. Each race will send 5,000 people, and 50,000 people from 10 races will be just enough. We can defeat them all at once, and then slowly find out the reason for their violence. The coordinates of 10 races were sent out on the campaign channel, and 10 armies of 10,000 people were sent to persuade them to stop fighting. At this time, in the Iron Prison area, Beiji William led a 24-man troop into a cell called Red Horse Iron Prison. After entering, the European server found that they were on a grassland. A creature with a pair of horns on its forehead and a horse tail on its buttocks was lying on the grassland, staring at the sky in a daze, with a long grass in its mouth. Red Horse Clan, late stage of the god. Suddenly, a group of strange auras appeared on the grassland. He sat up and saw dozens of creatures looking at him. He was stunned for a moment and asked, wow, there are creatures coming in. He found that this red horse was not as difficult to communicate as the creatures in other cells. Beiji William breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that he could make friends with a divine creature again this time. In this way, in addition to Zhao, the European server had another strong ally. Hello, we are from the human race. I'm sorry to bother you. I hope you don't mind. BG William introduced himself modestly. The red horse stood up with a happy smile and landed in front of BG William with a jump. He looked at BG William curiously. Don't bother me, don't bother me. No creatures have ever come in. You come in and talk to me. You sit down. Do you want to eat grass? I have a lot of grass here. If you want to eat, just nibble on it. Don't be polite. Oh, by the way, you can call me Red Horse. Seeing such an enthusiastic red horse, the European server players suddenly didn't know how to respond. Do you want to eat grass? BG William asked in confusion. Senior Red Horse, I went to other copies before. The creatures I met in the cells were all crazy and difficult to communicate because of the reduction of the seal. Why do you? Red Horse was surprised. Have you been to other cells? BG William, nearly 100. Red Horse was surprised. You are not dead. You are so lucky. Thank you for your praise. Then Red Horse said frankly, my previous race is not far from here, so I can let my tribe share the evil spirit coming from the ground. Unless my tribe dies on a large scale, I can stay awake all the time. BG William was surprised. Is Senior Red Horse's race not far from here? May I ask which region it is in? Red Horse region. Are you so narcissistic? Red Horse continued, and don't look at me being locked up here alone. I can still share the perspective with my tribe through blood and command them to fight each other every day. It's very interesting. You are really perverted. Let the races below you fight every day. If you were in reality, you would have to go to prison for a few years. There is no mistake in the first post. The content is in the 6 to 9 book. Red Horse looked at the speechless expressions of the creatures in front of him and laughed. Just like now, the two races I control are fighting. Shit. BG William raised his head and looked at the appearance of the creatures in front of him. He also observed the perspective of the races in the Red Horse area through his blood. Why do they look so similar? Red Horse suddenly stopped smiling and stared at BG William. Why did you come into my cell? BG William was very direct. The human race intends to make friends with Senior Red Horse and gain his friendship. Red Horse looked at the perspective of the tribe, listened to BG William's words, and said, human race, huh? You want to gain my friendship, but you are slaughtering my race's creatures, and you are planning to make friends with me? The European server players were confused by what Red Horse said. BG William explained puzzledly, Senior Red Horse, I don't know what you mean. We humans have never slaughtered your race, and we don't even know where the Red Horse area is. Red Horse exuded a dangerous aura of the gods. There are 100,000 creatures that look exactly like you humans who are slaughtering my race's creatures in the Red Horse area. You told me you don't know where the Red Horse area is. Damn. The system map doesn't show the Red Horse area. Question mark? Where did the human race come from? Exclamation mark. BG William immediately reacted. It must be that other servers are attacking the Red Horse area. What a coincidence. Question mark. The European players present were not stupid, and they immediately came to the conclusion. Damn. Which server is tripping us up? This is a big misunderstanding. How should I explain it? Didn't he just say that the Red Horse area is very close to the Iron Prison area? Are there players from other servers in the nearby area? BG William immediately knew that it must be a player from the Chinese server. The main city of the Japanese server is on the sea. The areas of the Korean server and the Southeast Asian server have not been cleared yet, and the Russian server and the American server do not have the strength to do so, so it can only be the Chinese server. And during this period of time, the Chinese server has been expanding its territory. BG William posted this conclusion on the World Channel, and it exploded instantly. What the hell? The Chinese server is near us? How about we team up to deal with them? We can't go. We can't let the Chinese server know the location of our European server. Have you forgotten the lesson from the Japanese server last time? Do you think we can beat the Chinese server? Then what should we do? Do we have to just give in? If you're afraid of death, you're not a European server person. Let me be fair. Don't say anything more about the above. You must have been bought. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210. The Chinese army is ready to make a move. At this time, Red Horse's irritable aura became more and more obvious, and his expression gradually became distorted. This situation was exactly the same as the creatures he encountered when he entered the cell before. Tell your people to stop. This is my last warning. Red Horse gnashed his teeth and growled. The European server players in the cell really have no reason to explain now, damn it. What a coincidence that the Chinese server is doing this to me now. BG William knew that this was not the time to explain to Red Horse. Red Horse, whose mind had been affected by the underground evil dragon, no longer had the ability to think independently, and the top priority now was not to clear this dungeon. He had to go back to the city as soon as possible to think about countermeasures. He couldn't let the Chinese server find the main city of his server so easily. Red Horse saw that the group of human beings in front of him did not pay attention to him at the first time, and he became completely angry. Just when he was about to slaughter these creatures, he suddenly found that the human beings in front of him collectively became nothingness and finally disappeared. Human race. I will exterminate your race completely. Blood debt must be paid with blood. Stop killing. My mind can no longer hold on. In the empty grassland, the Red Horse angrily hit the ground, and the violent vibration lifted up a large area of grass. The Red Horse was so crazy that he kept talking to himself and venting his anger. His expression was full of fear, anger, and despair. In the Red Horse area, Liang Ting watched the continuous feedback on the battle channel. Report. The Red Dog clan has crippled them, and now they are much more obedient. Haha, dog owners remind you that dogs are more obedient than others. It all depends on your guess. The Red Sheep clan has also communicated with them, and they have listened to the reasoning. I guess they listened while lying down. Feedback after feedback made Liang Ting confused. These races were basically all defeated, so why didn't the system prompt that the Red Horse area was successfully conquered? Did they really have to kill all these insane creatures? The next second, the system prompt followed. The Chinese server successfully conquered the Red Horse area. So sudden? No sign at all? It doesn't make sense that there was no prompt just now, but now it's prompted. This group of creatures has been quiet for a while. Is there any detail that I overlooked? Liang Ting kept thinking about this question, but what she didn't know was that the Red Horse sealed in the Iron Prison area had gone completely crazy at this time. Not only the Red Horse, but all the creatures sealed in the Iron Prison area had basically been invaded. Even Ziohei, who was in the Sea of Clouds forest, and the elves and wizards were affected to varying degrees. BG William received feedback from the creatures working in the embassy of the elves and wizards in the main city, and a considerable number of tribesmen had shown crazy behavior. BG William was in a big head. He didn't expect that conquering an Iron Prison area would cause so many troubles. A good dungeon area was turned into a mentally ill area, and it also affected the two races of the Sea of Clouds forest. It was really a big loss. Fuck. I can't destroy the Iron Prison area anymore. Just let them be locked up. If the evil dragon is born, the remaining group of psychopaths will be defeated. By then, the European server will really become a laughing stock of other servers. Everything will be discussed after the third transfer. As for the affected creatures of the elves and wizards, they are basically civilian creatures with no combat power. These creatures must be transferred immediately. The Yunhei forest is adjacent to the Iron Prison area, and it is easy to be invaded mentally. Looking at the map of the European server, the firing area to the north of the Yunhei forest cannot be visited. It is too hot. Players will lose blood if they stay there for a while. Civilian creatures will definitely be cremated directly. The Yumeo area to the west cannot be visited either. There are thunder, rain, and wind all year round, and it is a damn rain of knives. It is a good thing to get wet. Only the Xia polling area to the east is left. There are no threatening creatures. It is not hot, the weather is good, and the air is fresh. It will definitely be on the list of the top 10 most suitable places for living in planet. Next, there is another troublesome thing, that is, how to deal with these guys in the Chinese server. Liang Ting had no time to care about the awakened clan leaders in the Red Horse region. She organized the players to continue exploring in the northwest direction. The undercover agents stationed on the official forums of other servers in the Chinese server felt something was wrong. The European server forum has become unusually quiet in the past few hours. The usual obscure activities such as driving, spraying each other, and fighting have all stopped. Liangting subconsciously felt that their European server already knew that the Chinese server was close to their region. Otherwise it would not be so abnormal, and the abnormal time of the European server was just after the Chinese server launched an attack on these races in the Red Horse region. After the clan leaders of these races in the Red Horse region regained consciousness, they were very grateful to the human race and were willing to form an alliance with the human race, but they did not know anything about the players' inquiries. Why did they fall into madness? Why did they attack each other? And what abnormal phenomena were in the region? They could not get any useful information. Except for one thing, that is, in the legend of the Red Horse region, there was a divine ancestor many years ago, and later for some unknown reason he left this area. Since then, all the races and creatures in the Red Horse region have begun to act crazy, and future generations will be able to get rid of this situation. The information is useless. Since it is useless, let's just ignore it. Anyway, the European server probably knows that we are near their main city area, so we might as well go all the way. The current situation is that the Chinese server guessed that the European server knew that the Chinese server was near their main city area, but they dared not make it public for fear of being exposed. They wanted to see if the Chinese server was just expanding outward before deciding on the next step. The European server knew that the Chinese server must be in the Red Horse area, and they also knew that the two areas were extremely close. They planned to respond to the chaos with inaction, not to be exposed first, and not to alert the enemy. The official forums of the two servers were competing with each other in acting, and they all started to talk about random topics in order to induce the other players to relax their vigilance. Liangting told the Chinese server players the truth directly on the world channel, and asked the online players who were free to enter the campaign channel and team immediately. In each of the following areas, they might meet the European server players, so they should be prepared for war. No mistakes. 1 song, 1 post, 1 content, 1619, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 look. The players of the Chinese server were a little confused when they heard the news. At first, they thought that a race was found in a certain area and called on players to join a group to fight the battle. It turned out that it was close to the main city area of the European server. What can I do? I may be tired of fighting battles, but I'm a professional when fighting players from other servers. I found a son I have never met. Be prepared to beat him up. The sword in the hand of the loving mother will chop the wandering son. I'm ready for the 7 wolves. They are absolutely real. Excuse me, does the criminal law apply to this game? If not, I will not suppress it. I was very reluctant to solve the problem with violence, but since you are like this, I'm also a supporter of the minority obeying the majority. I was also forced to join. Damn, are all the troops full? There is another group request here. After many players learned the news, they informed their friends. Of course, this kind of happy event should be shared. A large number of players logged into the game and entered the battle channel and team with great fanfare. At this time, the total number of troops in the Chinese server battle has exceeded 5 million. If Liangting had not limited the level to level 60 or above, the number of participants would have directly flooded the Red Horse region. The Chinese server has more than 5 million second level and third level players who are now being transferred to the Red Horse region in a hurry. The entire server is as lively as it can be. However, the official website forum is surprisingly quiet. Usually, all the hot topics are either quarrels or rants, but today they all suddenly changed their style and replied with words like good morning, have you eaten, another energetic day, etc. Chapter 211, Zhang region. The Zhang region is located between the Tilao region and the Hangma region. There are 2 races of gods who have been fighting for countless years, the Shadow Kite clan and the Cold Kite clan. A raging river flows in the middle of the region, dividing the Zhang region into 2. Any creature that falls into the river will have a very hard time surviving. The Shadow Kite clan lives above the river near the Tilao region, and the Cold Kite clan lives below the river near the Hangma region. Thousands of years ago, the last patriarchs of the Shadow Kite and Cold Kite clan fought over the river and eventually fell into the river. As a result, the Shadow Kite and Cold Kite clan have been fighting to the death ever since, and are determined to slaughter each other. At this time, BG William, with all the second level ceiling players in the European server, is on full alert in the north of the Zhang region, which is the territory of the Shadow Kite clan. The Shadow Kite leader, Fei Yuan, felt it the moment the European server players stepped into the territory. He appeared not far from the European server players through the space cracks he summoned. He was shocked to see the unknown race of creatures constantly stepping into his territory, because there were too many of them. More than 5 million European server players passed through the Iron Prison area and arrived at the Zhang area. BG William immediately spotted the creatures that appeared in the air not far away. They were old men with black wings and a thin body. Fei Yuan, the Shadow Kite leader, is in the early stage of the Holy Spirit. The creatures in the early stage of the Holy Spirit. This Zhang area is something. There are actually such powerful creatures, but they are not a big threat. What race are you? Why did you step into my territory? Fei Yuan stared at this group of creatures with such an astonishing number and asked. BG William stepped forward and said, "Senior, please forgive me for interrupting you." Fei Yuan was straightforward and asked directly, "Why?" BG William said, "There is a branch of the human race that will enter this area from the south soon. We are here for no other reason than to stop that branch of the human race from passing through here." BG William told the truth and didn't want to argue with you. Compared with the ambitions of the Chinese server, your Shadow Kite tribe is not worth mentioning. Even if the Patriarch is in the early stage of the Holy Spirit, the European server players are not afraid of it. It's nothing more than a pile of lives. Fei Yuan was confused by this reason. You have so many creatures and you are invading in large numbers for such an absurd reason? Such a large number of creatures should be the entire combat power of your race, right? Are there other branches of the human race? You are so grand. Fei Yuan suddenly became curious. Anyway, the target is not his own race. Fei Yuan didn't have much resistance. Are you planning to fight with another human race? Even so, there is no need to send so many people. Fei Yuan asked. The human race in front of him was not weak, and even the Shadow Kite clan would not want to provoke them easily. BG William smiled bitterly. "Senior, you don't know that the strength of that human race is much stronger than ours, so our human race can only send nearly half of our people to resist." Fei Yuan, nearly half? How fertile are you humans? Fei Yuan was speechless when he suddenly felt a large number of strange auras suddenly appearing in the south. At the same time, the players in the Chinese server looked at the creatures that suddenly appeared in front of them. The image of an elderly woman with white wings and a thin body. Zhu Yuan, the Patriarch of the Cold Kite clan, is in the early stage of the Holy Spirit. Without waiting for Zhu Yuan Liangting to step forward, he said directly, "Senior, we are from the human race, and we plan to go to the north through your land." For the well-informed Chinese server players, the early stage of the Holy Spirit is really not enough. The commander's words are just a notification, and you Han Yuan tribe have no right to refuse. If you refuse, the Chinese server players don't mind destroying the Han Yuan tribe first. The plan to educate the son of the European server is not allowed to be blocked. Zhu Yuan narrowed her eyes on the surface, but she was terrified in her heart. The endless number of creatures from the human race in front of her exuded a momentum that could destroy the world. What on earth is there in the north that is worth mobilizing so many troops? Could it be the large number of strange auras that suddenly appeared in the north not long ago? Seeing the human race's indomitable attitude, Zhu Yuan did not refuse. After all, it was just borrowing a road. Besides, she didn't dare to refuse. She saw that if she refused, the other side would really take action. Zhu Yuan, no problem, just borrowing your way. Liangting said straightforwardly, "Thank you, Senior. Are you interested in forming an alliance with the human race?" "Don't worry, Senior, there is no need to promise anything, just that the Han Yuan tribe and the human race do not invade each other." Zhu Yuan was stunned for a moment. Why did they suddenly talk about forming an alliance again? But she didn't know how to refuse. The overall strength of this race was much stronger than that of the Han Yuan tribe. Normally, they should be happy to accept it, but she felt it was too frivolous. Liangting knew Zhu Yuan's concerns and said, "Senior, don't rush to reply. You can think about it first, and then tell us." Zhu Yuan breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. Liangting continued, in that case, the human race will leave first. Thank you again for the convenience. The players of the Chinese server, who had been thirsty for a long time, collectively summoned their mounts and headed north at full speed. Along the way, they encountered many cold kite creatures waiting in the air. At first, they thought that there was an enemy invasion, but later they found that this group of creatures was just rushing north without attacking them. In addition, the tribe leader did not issue a warning, so the creatures of the Cold Kite tribe gradually let down their guard and observed curiously. Due to the large number of people, the 5 million players could not move forward at the same time, and could only move forward in batches. Zhu Yuan looked at the determined human race creatures with mixed feelings in his heart. What kind of experience did it take to gather such an indomitable momentum? Even if the Cold Kite tribe has been fighting with the mortal enemy in the north for so many years, it cannot compare with the human race in front of them. No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, one book, one bar, 1619, one book, one bar, one look. Zhu Yuan was observing the actions of the human race. At this time, Zhao Mu walked to Zhu Yuan and bowed to him. Amitabha, benefactor, the human race asked me to come here to introduce the business of the alliance. No, the alliance package is not right either. Anyway, I'm here to answer your questions about the alliance. Zhu Yuan looked at this unpredictable human race. He was obviously not as strong as herself, but why did she feel threatened? In the territory of the Shadow Kite tribe in the north, Fei Yuan said to B.G. Williams solemnly, the human race you mentioned is rushing over here now. B.G. Williams sighed. Sure enough, the Chinese server is not simply expanding outward. The purpose is to rush to our European server main city. But how do they know the specific location of our European server? Fei Yuan said solemnly, the hatred between you humans, my Shadow Kite tribe will not interfere, but we will not allow you to fight in my territory. B.G. William no longer wanted to spend too much time on Fei Yuan. He posted the news of the Chinese server on the battle channel, and all the European server players present took a breath of cold air. Everyone, the purpose of the Chinese server this time is very clear. They are coming for our European server. If you don't want to follow the footsteps of the Japanese server, I hope you will be prepared for a hard battle. Next, I will do my best to command you to fight. No matter what the result is, at least our server has resisted. As soon as the voice fell, the players participating in the battle in the Chinese server and the European server received a system notification. Ding. The cross-server battle is started. Chapter 212. Conspiracy. Ding. The cross-server battle is open. The battle location is Zhang area and Tilao area. Battle restrictions for Chinese server players, none. Battle mission for Chinese server. Capture the Tilao area and clear all cells in the Tilao area. Battle restrictions for European server players, none. Battle mission for European server. Defend the Tilao area. Battle time limit, 1 week. Official battle live broadcast room is open. The content of the system notification raised the spirits of all players in Chinese and European servers. Chinese server players were overjoyed, while European server players were constantly taking a breath. After reading the content of the battle, Liangting and B.G. William both lifted the restrictions on the number of players and levels in the battle. As long as they were players in the server, regardless of their level, they could all participate. A large number of players from both sides were all teleported to the Red Horse area and Tilao area, and continued to rush to the Zhang area. At the same time, players from several countries in the Asian and American servers also received official notifications from the game, which instantly detonated the entire planet. The two strongest servers in the game suddenly collided with each other without any sound. There was no news before. If it wasn't for the notification sent by the system, everyone would have thought it was fake news and entered the live broadcast room to watch. Not only the players on each server, but all the companies in the gaming circle were blown up by the overwhelming news. The three roommates in the Black and White company were bombarded with calls from countless friends in the industry. The customer service hotline was busy again. It was another hard job to raise the salary of the customer service lady. Can Bai Bing, this idiot, discuss with us every time he makes trouble? I really don't have any psychological preparation. So is it the rhythm of working overtime this week? You are so smart. How did you guess it? All the game companies were furious. It's okay to steal our users. After all, your graphics, gameplay, realism, etc. really beat us. I can tolerate such a phenomenal game being free. After all, you have the military to protect you. But can you not do surprise attacks every time? Some of our company's games were just publicly tested a few days ago. Some were just launched online. Now you do this. All the attention has gone to your planet. Are you really planning to completely destroy our jobs? The bullet comment in the live broadcast room occupied the entire screen. Players from the Asian and American servers all flocked to the same live broadcast room to watch this historic moment. The servers supported by the players of each server were very conflicted. The Japanese server was bullied by the Chinese server players before, and now they are willing to see the Chinese server suffer a setback, but they also feel that their servers have been bullied before. It would be good to have another powerful server like the European server, which would at least make them feel balanced. The Korean server unconditionally supports the Chinese server. There is no other reason. The European server really beat them too hard in the previous cross-server battle. The Southeast Asian server has a simple mind. Basically, they are learning and watching the fun. They watch how to beat people, and how to be beaten. After all, it will be useful in the future. The Russian and American servers have always heard about the horror of the Chinese and European servers. The strength of the cross-server battles with the Japanese and Korean servers was too different before, so there was no passion. This time, I hope to see the scenes of fist to flesh. Some European players felt guilty, some were excited, some were angry, and some were desperate. The opponent in the battle was the Chinese server. How could they fight? Fuck. Just do it. I'd rather cry in a BMW than laugh on a bicycle. We can't bring shame to the European server. We must knock out the Chinese server's front teeth even if we die. All gangs, individuals, all apply to participate in the battle. If your hometown is raided, you can wait to be engraved on the pillar of shame. Go to the embassy of the elves and wizards and ask them to send people to support. Although Zhao had just come to the European server not long ago, he gradually got used to the human race's way of living. He was very confused. Why did the human race, who had always been fearless, suddenly feel so guilty now? At this time, he was possessed in the skin of a hunting cat creature. Perhaps because of the habits of the possessed object, he became extremely curious. He used the soul value stolen from the elves and wizards to teleport to the iron prison area. He was immediately drowned by a burst of evil, and lost his mind. The frantic Zhao attacked the creatures around him indiscriminately. However, the hunter cat creature was originally of a very low level, and was despised and beaten by the overwhelming European players, until he fell unconscious. Then, the kind European players picked him up by the scruff of the neck and teleported him to the downhill area, and threw him down. You can't help me at all, you're just making trouble by being cute. That's right. A dignified divine creature actually went to steal, and thought we didn't know. I don't know how many times the elves and wizards have complained to us, and every time they asked us to pay. It's just stealing, and it's so embarrassing to let people find out. The unconscious Zhao was taken care of by the civilians of the two tribes. He didn't know that the way he had been proud of making money was actually despised by the three tribes of humans, elves, and wizards. BG William looked at the bold words of the European players on the World Channel, but he didn't intend to confront the Chinese players head on. The campaign mission is about the Zhang area and the Iron Prison area, but the European server has no chance of fighting against the Chinese server in the Zhang area. The opponent is one turn ahead of the European server. No mistake. One song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. The Chinese server's way to win is to clear all the cell copies in the Iron Prison area within a week, and the European server will mainly harass their progress in clearing the copies, supplemented by direct resistance. Immediately order all European server players to retreat from the Zhang area and hide near the uncleared cells in the Iron Prison area. In 1 week, BG William is sure to hold on. Millions of European server players collectively use the return scroll to disappear in front of Fei Yuan, which scared Fei Yuan, a holy spirit in the early stage of the Holy Spirit. Every creature of these human beings can use space cracks. What's going on? Question mark. European players had no doubts about BG Williams' command ability. At least every time Bai William commanded a battle, the European server could successfully win. At the same time, in the minds of European players, this commander who didn't talk much and didn't communicate much with others was very thoughtful and an unpredictable and powerful person. Therefore, as soon as Bai William issued the order, all European players arrived at the Iron Prison area in just 10 minutes and hid near the uncleared prison cell copies. Come on. Chinese server. Let's see how strong it is as the recognized first server of planet. No matter what, other servers are not allowed to act recklessly in the area under the jurisdiction of European server. This week, I won't do any work. I'll just take a leave to stay at home and fight with you to the end. My wife said she wants to divorce me for the honor of European server. I won't tolerate her anymore. Please give me your wife's contact information upstairs. Thank you. The gaze from the single dog. I dare not say the rest. But on the first day, Chinese server cannot pass any cell dungeon. This is our bottom line. Strange, we have been bragging for an hour. Why haven't they arrived yet? Just when the European server players were wondering why the Chinese server was so slow, the Chinese server players at this time had no intention of stepping into the Iron Prison area. Their purpose was very simple, that is, to use one day to pass the Zhang area and provide the shortest teleportation distance for the subsequent battles. When Liang Ting saw the battle mission, she already knew what the European server would do next. Apart from guerrilla warfare, there was no way to stop the Chinese server. After all, the strength gap was there. Even if you European servers knew that the Chinese servers were conquering the Zhang region, you would not dare to come up to stop them. The reason is very simple. If you dare to come up, I will dare to take on the hatred of the Shadow Kite clan and kill you European servers first. Your 1 hour online cooldown is enough for us to sweep the prison dungeon. This is an open conspiracy. Chapter 213. Target, Shadow Kite clan. The Han Yuan tribe was the first friendly race that the Huaxia server needed to conquer. Zhao Mu had to persuade him to make the alliance with the human race clear, but Zhu Yuan still didn't believe it for a while. Why would such a powerful race make such an absurd alliance proposal? There was no exchange of interests, no restrictions, only friendship and non-aggression. What was the meaning of this meaningless alliance rule for you humans? Millions of military players from the Huaxia server were already standing in the southern territory of the Zhang region, which was the territory of the Han Yuan tribe, and they were ready to set foot on the Aing Yuan tribe in the north at any time. Liang Ting said to Zhu Yuan, Patriarch, the human race and the Han Yuan tribe had no intersection before, and there was no conflict of interest. The nobles formed an alliance with a human race, and the human race would not interfere in the Zhang region. The human race only needed a promise. Zhu Yuan hesitated again and again, and finally nodded in agreement. After all, there was no loss. There was no need to sign an agreement, and there was no harm to the Han Yuan tribe. It was just a verbal promise, and it could also deal with this group of extremely irritable humans. It was 100 benefits without any harm. Liang Ting, who received the system prompt, stood up and asked the players who were still in the Chinese server to transfer over on the battle channel. She also issued an order to the millions of players on the front line, and then stood up and said to Zhu Yuan, Chief, since we are already allies, the human race should also give the Han Yuan tribe a gift. Zhu Yuan also stood up. The aura of the human race in front of her was too strong. Although the strength was not high, it already had the momentum of a king. A little girl could actually command such a large race. The young are formidable, much stronger than me. Liang Ting said, it's time for the Han Yuan tribe and the Aing Yuan tribe to decide the winner. Zhu Yuan was stunned. What do you mean? Liang Ting smiled as a matter of course. The human race will help you drive the Aing Yuan tribe out of the Zhang area. Zhu Yuan. In the north of the Zhang area, millions of Aing Yuan tribes have gathered by the central river, watching the human race on the other side of the river with fear. The flying kites stood at the front with a gloomy face. There were more of them than the previous human race, and they were even stronger than the previous one. They were totally different. Why did this group of human race stay in the territory of the cold kites for so long? Aren't your targets the human race behind you? Why are you still staying here? The front line of the Chinese server was also watching the shadow kites on the other side. If nothing unexpected happened, this group of birds would be the target of the human race's battle in a while. I wonder if these birdmen on the opposite side can withstand our education for a day. They can fly. Can you fly? Stay calm. There will be a surprise later. I received a notification from the system. The south of the Zhang area is our ally area. One figure after another was teleported to the territory of the cold kites. Zhu Yuan was no longer surprised that the human race had space skills. The deputy commander of the front line, Nang Jun, suddenly stood up, summoned the tiger mount, and approached the shadow kites on the other side. The stream flowing in the middle of the Zhang area separated the north and south sides, and there were only 3 wide rock bridges connecting the middle. When the Nang Jun stepped onto the middle rock bridge, Fei Yuan's eyes narrowed. He actually came here alone. After the Nang Jun passed the rock bridge, he first identified Fei Yuan in the front. After the Yinhu mount slowly approached, one man and one Yuan stared at each other. Fei Yuan had already felt the powerful aura of this human race. He was fearless and moved forward. Fei Yuan even saw indifference in the eyes of this human race. His millions of Aing Yuan people stood in front of him, but his eyes were not fluctuating at all. It was terrifying. Human race, what do you want to do? Fei Yuan asked knowingly. The Nang Jun said calmly, let me pass by. We need to continue to move northwest through the Zhang area. As expected, this group of human race branches was heading for the group of human race that had just evacuated. Okay, the Aing Yuan tribe will help you be on guard, and you can leave at any time. What Fei Yuan meant by guarding was actually monitoring, fearing that the human race would suddenly do something weird. Liang Ting took out some soul points from the clan library and lent them to Zhu Yuan. Zhu Yuan tried to follow Liang Ting's method, and it turned out that she could actually teleport. Zhu Yuan, who appeared at the position of the stream, was shocked for a long time. The peasant army continued. Also, the Shadow Kite clan, leave the Zhang area. As soon as Zhu Yuan arrived, she heard the human race on the other side say this to Fei Yuan. So direct. Then she heard the human race around her talking. The Shan, Nongjun, boss is too arrogant. Isn't he afraid of being beaten for being so arrogant? Look at what you said. When has our Chinese server not been strong? That's right. It's just a process. I want the other side to kill the Shan boss so that we have a reason to beat them to death. Yeah, if they don't do something, we really can't find any reason to do it. It's not justified. Millions of players are crying for food. Don't waste time. Hurry up and kill the Shan boss. Hearing these words from the human race, Zhu Yuan suddenly didn't know. Aren't you of the same clan? Exclamation mark. Seeing Liang Ting still expressionless beside him, Yuhe did too. Why are you so calm? Well, I know Fei Yuan's character. If your people say this, they will be killed. Zhu Yuan kindly reminded. Liang Ting nodded. Really? That's good. Zhu Yuan. Across the stream, Fei Yuan has gradually become angry. Where do you get the courage to dare to speak to me like this in front of me? Nang Jun continued expressionlessly. Chief, I only need an answer. You only need to answer me. Agree or refuse. Fei Yuan frowned. Are you looking for death? Nang Jun looked at him calmly. Agree or refuse. Fei Yuan laughed angrily. I agree. Then where will our Shadow Kite tribe live? We humans can allocate an area for your race, and humans will not interfere. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619. I refuse. So what about the human race? The human race will attack the Shadow Kite clan. You can choose to be slaughtered by us before leaving, or choose to be completely exterminated by us. Fei Yuan glanced at the human race and the snow kite on the other side of the river. The human race cannot fly, and the cold kite clan can't do anything to us Shadow Kite clan in the air. As soon as Fei Yuan finished speaking, a space crack suddenly appeared beside the cold kite clan's rock bridge, and figures walked out of the crack one after another. Xinyang, Yu Dahei, Yuan Fang, Pengxin, Ziyan, Long Kui, Ghuo, Kan Nap, Yan Crossing, Fukai, all. Fukai laughed loudly after he appeared. This is the first time I can teleport without using soul points. It's really cost effective. Gee, are you taking me for a fool? Long Kui, where is brother Jiangxing? Pengxin, the breath of wind element is very strong here. Ziyan, why didn't Ziyan come? Ghuo, she is taking care of the baby at home. I also want to take care of Ziyan at home. but brother Yan Crossing insisted on dragging me over. Yan Crossing, I'm worried about you taking care of him alone. Kinna, do you think you can be relieved if you leave Sister Xian alone? Xinzang, the human race is making trouble again. Hey, yes, they are really capable of making trouble. Yuan Fang, roar, roar, roar. Zhu Yuan and Fei Yuan were stunned when they saw the sudden appearance of a large number of gods and creatures, and then they were even more shocked to find that there were even god-level creatures among them. Is this the strength of the human race? Exclamation mark. Too terrifying. Ji asked Liangting, girl, why did you ask me to come this time? Liangting smiled politely, Senior Ji, please suppress the flying creatures on the opposite side and prevent them from flying. Ji turned around and looked at the Shadow Kite clan, the Holy Spirit clan. Okay, leave it to me. Chapter 214, Quicksand River. The European server has buried many old Sly Scouts in the Yingyuan territory. After seeing the movement of the Chinese server, they immediately posted the news to the world channel. The Chinese server is cheating. Why are you calling 4 people when we agreed to the battle? We can call 2. Haven't the elves and wizards sent people to support? I feel it's useless to come here. There is an old man in the god realm on the opposite side. Fei Yuan was already scared at this time. Damn it, I'm only a Holy Spirit realm, and Zhu Yuan, an old woman, can restrain me. Now you are coming with such a group of perverts. Wouldn't it be better if you clicked? Now I have shown my awesomeness. This is embarrassing for me. How do you let my people see me? Human race, why do you want to help the Han Yuan tribe? Whatever conditions they give, my Ain Yuan tribe can also give. Your target is the human race in the north, right? My Ain Yuan tribe can also help you humans. Fei Yuan struggled and tried soft tactics. If hard tactics didn't work, Nong Jun said, there's nothing we can do. The leader of the Cold Kite tribe is a woman. You, a grown man, should just put up with it. We humans don't like to violate women's wishes. After hearing this reply, Fei Yuan immediately thought that some human beings had taken a fancy to Zhu Yuan. They really don't like to violate women's wishes. Can your excuse be any lazier? Question mark. Liangting didn't want to waste any more time on the Shadow Kite tribe. She ordered the players to cross the river collectively. They all suddenly said, be careful, don't fall down. There is a breath of threat under the river that even I feel is threatening. Liangting turned to look at Zhu Yuan, who nodded, I don't know, but flying above the river is prohibited. Once you fly over it, you will lose the ability to fly and fall down. This is the consensus of all creatures in the Zong area. Liangting looked down at the turbulent river. Another pit. It seems that she will have time to figure out the branch line of this river in the future. While Fei Yuan was silent, the human race suddenly stepped over the river in large numbers. After struggling for a while, they gritted their teeth and asked, the human race needs to give a region to our Shadow Kite clan. After hearing Fei Yuan's words, the players were immediately discouraged. You are so cowardly, it's boring. I really want to hammer him to death. Northwest Hammer King, orcs will never be slaves unless they provide food and accommodation. I haven't fought a decent battle for a long time. He is a sensible birdman. Liangting rode up on the Tiger, the Red Horse region below the Zong region, the Shura Island in the Southern Sea, the Hell region without races and creatures, and the Cliff Mouth region. You can choose any of the 4 locations, and the human race will not interfere. You Shadow Kite clan should think it over and give us an answer in a week. Fei Yuan was stunned for a moment. He originally thought that the human race would just give the Shadow Kite clan a corner, but after listening to it, it seems that all of them are good. Can such a region really be given just by saying it? Exclamation mark. The key point is not to interfere. Exclamation mark. After Liangting finished speaking, she led the players of the Chinese server to march directly to the north. Today's goal has been achieved, and it is very late. Starting tomorrow, the next 6 days will be the time for large-scale parent-child activities on the European server. On the battle channel, she said, today's battle content ends here. Players can move freely, whether you go offline or set foot in the European server area. But at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, all players who plan to participate in the battle will gather at the northwest border of the Zong area. The choice of millions of Chinese server players is not surprising. Of course, they will set foot in the iron prison area as soon as possible. They are really unwilling to do nothing today. It is not a loss to go up and give a head and then go offline. The players who were originally lonely and unbearable instantly became disorganized and undisciplined. They broke through the territory of the Shadow Kite clan and rushed to the iron prison area, scaring the members of the Shadow Kite clan to fly into the sky to avoid them. They all glanced at the opposite side and did not take action. Liangting didn't care what these guys were doing. At this time, Fei Yuan and Zhu Yuan were standing on both sides of the middle rock bridge, looking at each other. The atmosphere between the two feuding races suddenly became tense. Zhu Yuan gloated, "The Zhang area belongs to our Han Yuan tribe after all." Fei Yuan said nothing. There was no point in the extra-verbal battle. The two had been fighting for so many years, and they knew each other's thoughts. Fei Yuan, our two tribes have been fighting for so many years, just to compete for the bloodline under the Liasha River. Without our Rhine Yuan tribe, you may not succeed. Zhu Yuan knew that this long-time opponent was telling the truth, and put away his smile. You and I both know that the ancestors of our two tribes did not die, so I must go down to the Liasha River. Liangting heard their conversation. Liasha River? So that's it. If nothing unexpected happens, Shaseng should be down there. In this case, the human race will have to go down, and there will be one more branch line. In addition to Liangting, Yi Jian, Nongjun, Zhao Mu, Lan Zifeng, and He Yang all heard this conversation. There were exactly 6 people in a team. Isn't it a coincidence? No mistake. 1 song, 1 post, 1 content, 1 6, 1 book, 1 bar. After everyone looked at each other, they tacitly established a team. Yi Jian said to the fangirl next to him, "Long Kui, you stay by yourself first. I have something to do." Long Kui finally caught Yi Jian and was unwilling to let him go. "Brother Jiangxing, where are you going? I can go with you. I'm a god now and can help you." Fukai narration. Another entangled relationship. Hey, why bother? Don't you think so, Sister Ziyan? Ziyan unconsciously moved her position. "Brother Fukai, you stay by yourself first. I have something to do." It's rare to see 2 lickers, a man and a woman, at the same time. Kiana stepped forward and grabbed Lanki. "Sister, your brother Jiangxing will be here for the next few days. Are you afraid that he will run away?" Lanki reluctantly let go of her hand. Zhao Mu smiled and said, "Boy, haven't you been taught a lesson by the big brother Lu Dongbin in Chunayang area before? How did you run away?" Yi Jian was disdainful and adjusted the wooden sword he was wearing. "How can I be absent in such a battle? And if I want to leave, can Lu Dongbin stop me?" Everyone smiled and said nothing, and did not expose him. Before, when they heard that Jiangxing was being instructed by Lu Dongbin, many players were jealous, and they all entered the Chunayang area to give gifts, but found that the place where Lu Dongbin and Jiangxing stayed was prompted that they could not enter, and they could only hide outside and peek. When Yi Jian heard that he had to leave to join the battle, Lu Dongbin smiled and shook his head to refuse. Yi Jian tried to persuade him, massaged him, and offered his courtesy. Finally, he almost knelt down. Lu Dongbin let him go and told him that if he didn't come back, he would be locked up for life. Finally, he gave Yi Jian a wooden sword, saying that the previous sword couldn't be used, so this one would serve for a while. After the team was established, the 6 people jumped down without saying a word. The surging river directly submerged the 6 people, and the Fei Yuan and Zhu Yuan on both sides were shocked. What are they doing? Mass suicide? Question mark? Zhu Yuan pointed to the quicksand river below, turned back to the human race and stammered, they jumped down. The allied creatures of the human race were used to it. They felt uncomfortable if they didn't commit suicide for a day. Chapter 215. The Past of the Cold Kite and Shadow Kite. Liasha River, number limit. Liangting and the others appeared in an underwater cave. It's outrageous that there is a cave under the river. Liasha River, if nothing unexpected happens, Junior Brother Sha should be in it. I guess the dam official will set Junior Brother Sha to be sealed here. Now we have learned to predict the dam official. Everyone walked towards the cave, dripping water from the rock wall above, and slowly flowing water on the ground. Hurry up, it's late at night. We have to attack the European server tomorrow morning. You are awesome. Just walk over there. Is walking over there the style of our Chinese players? We have professional reconnaissance players. Woohoo. He Yang, you go. Go. You are a 4th level professional, and you let me go. The few people quarreled and walked forward for about 5 minutes, and suddenly saw 2 people. Looking closely, 2 winged old men, a man and a woman, were sitting in the distance with their eyes closed. Fiang, Shadow Kite Clan, Late Holy Spirit. Zuhan, Hanyuan Clan, Late Holy Spirit. Could these 2 guys be the ancestors of the 2 bad men who had a fight before? They're really alive. Then why don't they go out? They probably fell in love, and they were afraid that their descendants would object, so they stayed here to elope. Zuhan was awakened by the voices of the crowd. He opened his eyes and saw a few people in the distance. He was stunned for a moment and kicked Fei Yang beside him. Older mortal, a living creature came in. Fei Yang's hazy eyes were startled by the kick. Old woman, are you sick? You are so jumpy. What if a living creature came in? What? A living creature came in? He turned his head and looked at the player's dolly, then stood up and limped closer. It's really rare. There are really living creatures that come in here. Liang Ting saluted hurriedly to seniors. Several of us are from the human race. May I ask if you are the ancestors of the Aing Yuan clan and the Han Yuan clan? Zuhan also followed forward, looked at Liang Ting and smiled kindly. I didn't expect that there are still living beings who know us 2 old guys. Little ones of the human race, why are you here? Fiang interrupted. Isn't it good for them to appear here? They are just right to chat with me. Little ones of the human race, let me ask you, how is my Yingyuan tribe now? Yi Jian, very good, fighting every day, 8 times a day. Zuhan and Fiang looked at each other, and Zuhan asked, why are our 2 tribes like this? Liang Ting answered truthfully, maybe both tribes think that their ancestors, that is, the 2 seniors, fell into the quicksand river because of the other's ancestors. Lan Zifeng added, be more confident and eliminate the possibility. That's what they think. Zuhan suddenly burst out with a monstrous murderous aura and shouted at Fiang, it's all because of you. If you hadn't forced me to investigate some evil spirit, would it have turned out like this? Fiang looked guilty. You agreed at the beginning. Who knew that the evil spirit was so violent? Everyone's eyes lit up. There is an affair. Yi Jian immediately said, the 2 elders. No, can the 2 elders tell us something? The human race may be able to help. Zuhan glared at Fei Yang, and it looked like he was ready to fight at any time. Fei Yang felt guilty and hurried to the player's side to interrupt. There is nothing worth talking about. It's all in the past. Zuhan said angrily, speak. Explain it clearly. Let the little guys see how stupid you, an old man, have done. Fei Yang was anxious. What do you mean by stupid? I did it for the safety of our 2 tribes. Zuhan laughed angrily. Okay, you don't want to say it, right? I'll tell it. Zuhan directly told Liang Ting and the others what happened at the beginning. At that time, the 2 clan leaders of the Han Yuan tribe and the Aing Yuan tribe were Zuhan and Fei Yang, and the 2 tribes lived together in the Zhang area. At that time, the river in the middle of the Zhang area could still fly freely, and the 2 tribes often crossed the river and occasionally met each other. Although they were not friendly, they were not hostile. The creatures of the 2 tribes would not take the initiative to fight when they met in the wild. Zuhan and Fiang didn't have much special thoughts about each other's race. They would meet each other every once in a while and would occasionally quarrel, and then nothing would happen. One day, Fiang suddenly came to the Hanuan tribe to visit Zuhan and told the Yingyuan tribe that an ominous aura suddenly came from the north. Even Fiang, who was in the late stage of the creature, felt frightened and worried that his race would be affected in the future, so he invited Zuhan to go and explore together. Zuhan agreed, and the 2 went to the northern border of the Zhang area together. As soon as they stepped into the area above, Zuhan and Fiang suddenly felt a surge of evil energy. Even though the 2 of them were always vigilant, they were attacked by the evil energy. Zuhan and Fiang knew that the unknown ahead was not something they could touch, so they immediately returned. However, the evil spirit had already invaded. After Zuhan and Fei Yang returned to the location of the river in the Zhang area, Fei Yang, who was attacked by the evil spirit first, suddenly attacked Zuhan. Zhu Han was startled by Fei Ying's behavior and then saw Fei Ying's expression and immediately knew that his mind was invaded. Zhu Han, who could have stayed away, decided to help Fei Ying temporarily control him for the sake of the friendship between the two tribes for many years, but as both were in the late stage of the Holy Spirit, Zhu Han could not do anything to the other party. The shocking battle between the two late Holy Spirit creatures attracted the attention of the two tribes. When they arrived at the river, they thought that the patriarchs of both sides were fighting, and they immediately became murderous. As the battle lasted longer, Zhu Han was gradually affected by the evil spirit, and finally lost his mind, and wanted to kill Fei Ying. The two late Holy Spirit creatures were fatal above the river. After a day and a night of all-out fighting, the two were suddenly shocked by a breath under the river. The short sobriety made the two relax their minds, and fell directly into the river and lost consciousness. When they woke up, a creature with much stronger power than them appeared in front of them, and told them that this was the underground of the river, the Quicksand River. This powerful creature told them that they had been invaded by evil spirits and that being under the Quicksand River could help them resist the evil spirits. When the source of the evil spirits was solved one day, they could leave. For the sake of their respective races, Zhu Han and Fei Ying decided to stay under the Quicksand River and wait. They were also afraid that the two tribes would attack each other without their leaders, so they hoped that this powerful creature could help restrict the actions of the two tribes and prevent the creatures of the two tribes from stepping on the other's race at will. The creature agreed, and from then on, a forbidden air atmosphere was formed above the river in the middle of the Zhang area. The creatures of the Henyuan tribe and the Yingyuan tribe could not fly above the river. If they wanted to pass, they could only pass through 3 rock bridges, which would greatly limit the two tribes' intention to attack. Everyone looked at each other, knowing that the Iron Prison area was above the Zhang area that Zhu Han mentioned. The source of the evil spirit was also clear. They didn't expect that the Henyuan tribe and the Yingyuan tribe had such a past. At this time, both tribes thought that their ancestors died because of the other's killers. Liang Ting asked, "Senior, who is the powerful creature you mentioned before?" "It's me." A voice came from the passage behind. Chapter 216, Ahat Heritage. Liang Ting and the others saw a man with a burly figure, which was reasonable, but his appearance was unexpected. Fei Ying approached from the side and said respectfully with Zhu Han, "Senior." Sha Wujing, late stage of the god. Yi Jian secretly muttered, "Why is junior brother Sha Mediterranean?" Lan Zifan nodded, "It's very different from the image in my mind." He Yang praised in a low voice, "You two are still brave," tearing down the boss in front of him. Nang Jian unconsciously moved 2 steps to the side, as if to show that they were not familiar with each other. In everyone's impression, junior brother Sha is an introverted, honest and kind old man, but the junior brother Sha in front of them is burly, with a naked blood-red upper body, a full beard, and a necklace of unknown heads hanging around his neck, like a demon god. "Human, why did you enter the Quicksand River?" Sha Wujing said in a gloomy voice. When Zhao Mu saw junior brother Sha, he felt close to him unconsciously, so he walked forward and bowed. "Amitabha, the human race has no intention of disturbing you, Donor Sha, please forgive me." Sha Wujing looked at Zhao Mu, his eyes slightly staring. "Why do you have the aura of Ksatagarbha Bodhisattva?" Zhao Mu answered truthfully, "My junior master is Ksatagarbha Bodhisattva." Sha Wujing looked at him carefully, looked at Yi Jian again, stared at him again and said, "Why do you have the aura of Taoism?" Yi Jian, "Well, Lu Dongbin gave me some advice some time ago." Sha Wujing thought for a while. "These two have also been born," Liang Ting said. "Not only that, but also the senior brother. No, it's the second senior brother Zhu Beiji, the senior, and the 10 kings of hell, have all been born." Sha Wujing was surprised. The second senior brother has also been born? How could that fearful pig be so fearless? Everyone. Sha Wujing, even if you have a connection with Taoism and Buddhism, you still need to leave. The Liasha River is not something that humans can get involved in. Yi Jian asked curiously, "Master Sha, no senior, don't you have anything good to reward us?" Sha Wujing was not interested in this foul-mouthed guy. The Liasha River is a dead yin stream. There is nothing here except yin energy. What do you want? Liang Ting asked, "Why do you want to stay in the Liasha River?" Sha Wujing, One of the passages to the Abyss world is under the Liasha River. If I leave, this passage to the Abyss will open. It was the first time that Zuhan and Fiang heard that there was a passage under the river. Why didn't you tell us when we were here for countless years? Question mark. Now a bunch of kids come in and you say everything as if you were leaving a will. You have to be fair. Liang Ting asked. Humans can help seniors as long as humans can do it. Sha Wujing looked at the 6 humans in front of him, 2 of whom had inherited the mantles of Buddhism and Taoism. Humans still have great fortune as always, but you can't help me, at least not now. In the quicksand river, as soon as Sha Wujing finished speaking, a golden light suddenly lit up on Zhao Mu's body. Everyone, including Zhao Mu himself, was shocked. Sha Wujing felt the pure golden light, clasped his hands together and murmured, Amitabha, Ksitagarbha Bodhisattva, I didn't expect to meet you here. Zhao Mu's golden light condensed into a blurry figure, which was Ksitagarbha, one of the 4 great bodhisattvas in Buddhism. Jingguang, Arhat, I don't have much time to manifest, so I'll make it short. Sha Wujing, please speak, Bodhisattva. Jingguang, the saint of the human race has been born. All the existing Buddhas will return to their positions. I will let the 10 kings of hell guard the Liasha River. You can be born now. Sha Wujing showed some excitement on his face. Bodhisattva, the king of hell is not strong enough to guard this passage. Jingguang, you don't have to worry. This is the will of the Emperor Dangayu. After Sha Wujing waited for the golden light to dissipate, he was silent for a long time, and suddenly he laughed deafeningly, scaring everyone present, and the 2 creatures, Lan Zifeng and Yi Jian, were whispering, is he crazy? Will he kill us all? Yi Jian nodded, I think so. This man doesn't look like a good person at first glance. Sha Wujing restrained his laughter and stared at Yi Jian and Lan Zifeng. These 2 humans, he really wanted to save them. Liang Ting smiled and said, congratulations senior, you can see the light of day again. Sha Wujing regained a smile and lost his previous gloom. If you don't come in, Ksitagarbha Bodhisattva will not show up. I accept your favor. Liang Ting immediately took help. Then is there any place you want to go? If not, the human race welcomes you to stay. Sha Wujing shook his head, no need. Liang Ting's face suddenly became bitter. It's a pity that there is one less big man to help. Sha Wujing knew the human race's thoughts and smiled. I'm a golden body arhat of Buddhism. I can leave you a legacy, but this legacy is not suitable for all human races. After speaking, he glanced at Lan Zifeng and Yi Jian, implying that you 2 guys with bad mouths should shut up. Lan Zifeng was stunned. How can you do this? Question mark. You are so stupid. Do you believe that Buddha will not bless you? No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, one book, one bar. Yi Jian didn't care. I use a sword. Who cares about your 4th level arhat profession? At most, after the battle, I will go back to Chunhyang to flatter Lu Danbin. I don't believe that I can't get a 4th level inheritance. Sha Wujing continued, my arhat inheritance is mainly based on strength and flesh, and there is only 1 copy. The remaining 4 people, Liang Ting, Zhao Mu, He Yang, and Nang Jun, looked at each other. Liang Ting knew that she was not going to take the path of strength and flesh. Zhao Mu already had the inheritance of Ksitagarbha, and he also voluntarily withdrew. Nang Jun and He Yang were left. The latter smiled and took a step back. The shield star profession with the most strength and flesh was none other than Nang Jun. Sha Wujing looked at the remaining human race and was quite satisfied. He took off the unknown skull necklace from his neck and handed it to Nang Jun. These skulls are all the creatures of the abyss that I killed. I'm called Namo 8 Treasures Golden Body Arhat Bodhisattva. There are a total of 8 skulls corresponding to 8 magic seals. When you have the strength to destroy these 8 skulls, you can reach my strength. Nang Jun didn't say much. He didn't expect that he would be the one to inherit in the end. He was surprised to take the skull necklace. Liang Ting secretly poked Nang Jun, who reacted and hurriedly shouted, thank you, master. Sha Wujing was also quite satisfied with this human race. He smiled and didn't say anything. Liang Ting suddenly asked, senior, you just said that you were named a bodhisattva, but why do you call yourself a golden body arhat? Sha Wujing, although I was named a bodhisattva by the Buddha, I'm an arhat. Everyone seemed to understand and didn't care too much. Why make a game so complicated? If you don't spend money, can you still raise the salary of the designer? Sha Wujing said, humans, you are a race that has inherited luck. This time, I hope you will not disappoint all the creatures in the world. I will wait and see. After that, he turned into a water scroll and disappeared into the flowing sand river. Liangting smiled and said to Nangjun, congratulations, you have successfully transferred to the 4th job. Everyone congratulated him, but Yi Jian muttered, why is it so easy for you to transfer to the 4th job? I'm tortured every day when I transfer to the 4th job. If I had known, I would have found a bodhisattva or arhat to transfer to the 4th job. Lan Zifeng said, haha, Buddhism does not save people below undergraduate level. Yi Jian was speechless. You are a fucking idiot. I'm an undergraduate. Zhao Mu added, you are a correspondence student. Yi Jian, do you know that this sentence of yours will at least make you lose 10 years of merit? Liangting interrupted, okay, it's getting late. We have things to do tomorrow. Let's go back and log off. Everyone activated the return scroll and gradually disappeared into the flowing sand river, leaving only Zuhan and Fei eyeing the creatures, looking at each other in bewilderment. Did you forget something? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217, Second Day of the Battle. The next morning, Fei Yuan found that the human race had become much better at dealing with him, which made him not know what to do for a moment. After watching the screen recording Liangting posted on the forum, the players of the Chinese server all gave up the idea of hurting the Shadow Kite clan. Why bother? We are all kind people. As long as you are obedient, Dad can usually satisfy you. The pain in my heart is that I hit you. This wave of emotional change made the Shadow Kite clan stunned for a while. Even Zhu Yuan felt that the illusion was that the human race was going to go back on their words and turn their guns to deal with them. Also, didn't you guys jump into the river yesterday? How come you can still stand in front of me now? Exclamation mark. Liangting met with the 2 clan leaders, Zhu Yuan and Fei Yuan, and put down her status. After persuading them, she told them the truth. The 2 clan leaders looked at each other in surprise and suddenly stood up at the same time and pointed at each other and scolded. Zhu Yuan, it's all your fault. Our ancestors fell in vain. Fei Ying retorted, don't you have a brain? You invade our Yuan tribe every now and then. Zhu Yuan was angry, say it again. Do you believe it? I will exterminate your Yuan tribe from this area now. Fei Yuan also slammed the table, try it. Do you think our Yuan tribe is afraid of you? Liangting hurriedly stood up to stop them. Don't be angry, both of you. This is all a misunderstanding. The original intention of the ancestors of the 2 tribes was good, all for the 2 tribes to live in harmony and love each other for a long time. If the ancestors of your 2 tribes knew that their thoughts were violated in the 9 springs, no, they would not want to see it when they return. Zhu Yuan was shaking with anger. If Liangting hadn't known that this was a creature in the early stage of the Holy Spirit, she was afraid that he would fall down and blackmail him. Fei Yuan knew that he was in the wrong, but he had to bear it for the sake of face. Liangting said to Fei Yuan, Chief Fei Yuan, the human race has no intention of making things difficult for the Shadow Yuan clan, and there is no need for the Shadow Yuan clan to migrate. In the days ahead, I hope the nobles will still abide by the agreement and let us pass through. Fei Yuan was more than happy about it, but Zhu Yuan was not happy about it. She picked up a chair and threw it at Fei Yuan. Fei Yuan did not dare to fight with Zhu Yuan now, and fled cursing, like a social teenager who could not beat Zhu Yuan, and wanted to win the last prize. At this time, most of the Chinese server players who participated in the battle had already stepped into the territory of the Iron Prison area. Liangting gave the battle task to divide into 2 armies. One army was composed of 3 turn players, and they were fully committed to attacking the cell dungeon. The second army was composed of 2 turn players, and they were fully committed to stopping the European server players. The number of Chinese server players participating in the battle was more than that of European servers, but the number of two-turn players was less. It was obviously unrealistic to fight a tug-of-war with European server players. Even if they were killed, there would only be an hour of online cooling. By then, the counter-attack of the European server would not solve the problem, and it would only waste time. We should just divide our forces to fight. If the second level players of China are repelled, the third level players will counter-attack. After that, the second level players will reform the defense line to delay time. Liang Ting and BG William both knew the direction of their respective battles. BG William asked the elves and wizards who had been on standby to attack the Chinese server from both sides, and Liang Ting also received the feedback from the assassin players at the first time. It was unexpected that the opponent had racial support when fighting away from home. Since you European servers don't mind the lives of your allies, there is no need for us Chinese servers to be saints. Just don't feel bad when the time comes. Liang Ting sent out 2 armies from the third level players. One was led by He Yang, all assassins. The elves have low health and poor defense. It's just right for the 2 professions of instant kill and broken kill to attack you, and they will directly enter your team to give you a critical hit package. Although the third level instant kill and broken kill professions are as fragile as ever, their agility and speed are quite high, and it's like playing a one-on-one fight with the creatures of your elves. Another third level army was led by Mistwind. All of them were magicians and binders, with bursts and restrictions. Aren't you wizards good at magic attacks with high HP? Have you ever heard that only magic can defeat magic? Let the output of the third level mage class blow up your formation directly. An hour later, Liang Ting and BG William received feedback from the scout players at the same time. The elves and wizards were defeated by the players of the Chinese server. The 2 tribes were retreating, and the Chinese server was trying to pursue them. BG William immediately ordered all the European server players attacking on the front line evacuate, divide into 2 armies, surround these 2 teams of Chinese server players, and eat them. Liang Ting did not respond, telling the third level players in the cell copy to attack with all their strength and let Woohoo, He Yang, and the magician, Mistwind, hold them back, and even if they died, they would still have to exchange a few lives for the European server. BG William knew that if he did this, the Chinese server would definitely attack the prison dungeon in a short period of time, but he had to do it. This was an attitude expressed to the elves and wizards. The human race did not ignore them, nor did they let them be pawns in the charge. In terms of combat power, it is definitely not as good as the Chinese server. BG William is not considering defeating the Chinese server, but winning this battle. The winning condition of the battle is to prevent the Chinese server from clearing all the prison cell areas. Only 1 prison cell is left. The European server also wins this battle. In the evening, 2 third level armies of the Chinese server were eaten by the European server, and the European server also lost nearly 1/5 of its players. The Chinese server successfully attacked 1/6 of the prison dungeons. For the second level players of the European server, the gods and creatures are difficult to fight, but for the third level players of the Chinese server, as long as they cooperate properly and have perfect professional distribution, they will definitely be able to pass the level. After all, the dog official will not make an unsolvable dungeon for you to die. While the 2 third level players from the Chinese server were online and cooling down, the remaining 4/5 of the European server players and the 2 tribes of elves and wizards who suffered little loss rushed directly to the front of the Chinese server. The defense line of the second level players from the Chinese server only lasted less than an hour before it was completely defeated. Liang Ting immediately ordered the 2 third level Chinese troops who had just died not to return to defend, but to continue to rush north and rush straight to the Yunhei forest of the European server. In addition to the main city of the European server, there are also 2 tribes of elves and wizards in the Yunhei forest. I don't believe that you can't encounter a group of them all the way through. As long as you find one of them, you have to return to defend. After receiving the feedback, BG Williams' face suddenly turned black. Although he usually doesn't talk, it doesn't mean that he won't curse. You damn Chinese server only knows how to play dirty. What the European server fears most is that the Chinese server is so shameless, but there is no turning back. The front has already defeated the defense line of the Chinese server. It is impossible to play back like this. This will hit morale. The most annoying thing is that, although most of the second level players on the Chinese server frontline have been killed, there is a limit on the number of people entering the prison dungeon, and European server players cannot enter the prison dungeon to cause trouble. Liang Ting looked at the time. It was not early. Many players had not eaten dinner in order to fight this battle. Liang Ting could not let some players go offline to eat, while others stayed hard. She could only persuade everyone to persevere, and promised that the battle would not end till late today, and that there would be enough time for players to go offline to eat. Knowing that the European server suffered a big loss today, it was indeed a bit unkind of her to steal the home, but this was a battle. Do you really think I would play a round-based game with you? Do you think you are playing fantasy? No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, one book, one bar, 1619, one book, one bar, one look. Liang Ting immediately sent a private message to Woohoo, He Yang, and the mage, Lan Zifeng, and said a few words, then issued an order on the campaign channel. Today's campaign has come to an end. Except for the players who are attacking the prison dungeon, the rest of the players can move freely. After dinner, you can go online to harass on your own. At the same time tomorrow morning, we will continue the campaign against the European server. Live broadcast rooms of various servers. The command of the Chinese server is really terrifying. On the first day of the campaign, they solved the problem of the Zhang area and the transmission distance. They were so foresighted. It feels like the European server has been led by the nose by the Chinese server. There's nothing we can do. The European server is fighting at home and has too many concerns. The Chinese server is fighting away and can play as they please. It's just a father beating his son. The European server is not that bad, right? Didn't they break through the front line of defense of the Chinese server? The main combat power of the Chinese server is the third turn in the dungeon. The number of second turn combat power is originally less than that of the European server. If the third turn combat power comes out in less than half an hour, it is estimated that the European server's ancestors will be overturned. I feel like all our servers combined can't beat the Chinese server. Be more confident and get rid of that feeling. I strongly suggest weakening the Chinese server. I suggest forming an alliance to contain the Chinese server. Chapter 218, the third day of the battle. That night, European players spontaneously stayed up late to set up an encrypted post on the European official forum. To join, you need to have a European account and be approved by the host. The content of the post is roughly, strengthen the lurking intelligence and win over of the Chinese server. Many top European players went in to express their unique opinions. Today, they were really disgusted by the Chinese server. They could have fought us head on, but they had to make a detour, thinking that the Chinese server would not bother to fight with them. As a result, they came up and went to steal the home without saying a word. So far, the two Chinese server third level armies that entered the Yunhei forest have not been found. They must have found a corner to log off and wait to discuss the European server tomorrow. That night, the content discussed in this post was roughly improved, and the center of external intelligence expansion was concentrated in the Chinese server. Soul value was directly allocated from the main city of the European server. As long as the Chinese server players can reveal the intelligence of their servers, they can get corresponding soul value rewards. The amount of soul value depends on the importance of the intelligence. Anyway, the location of the hometown has been known, and there will be many situations to deal with the Chinese server in the future. While the meeting was going on, many night owls from the Chinese server and the European server went online during this time period and still implemented the Chinese server's command. The third level team attacked the prison dungeon. Those who could not find a team temporarily went to beat up the children. The second level players directly entered various troops to violently educate the European server players. On the third day of the battle, Liang Ting found a situation that surprised him after going online. All the prison dungeons in the Iron Prison area were shown as inaccessible, and the number of players inside was full. This wave of operations by the European server is self-evident, that is, to let the players team up to enter the prison dungeon to delay time. As long as the players inside are not dead, then you Chinese server can't enter. Liang Ting felt that the European server commander made a bad move. Let's not talk about whether our Chinese server can enter or not. How long can you two second level players in the European server withstand the completely crazy boss in the prison? And even if you can hold on for an hour, will our Chinese server stand here and stare at you and waste time? We can go up and beat you up. Our third level players have very violent personalities. All third level players attack the European server front. Second level players disperse and attack and kill all the lone enemies. Liang Ting calmly commanded in the battle channel. When BG Williams saw the Chinese server's army attacking, he ordered, "Fight and retreat. Don't confront the Chinese server head on, and pay attention to casualties." BG William also knew that he had made a bad move, but he had to do it. He wanted to find the two third level Chinese server armies in the Yunhei forest. So far, these two disgusting armies have not yet come online. Use the European server players to delay time in the cell and contain the front of the Chinese server. Then the Chinese server's army in the Yunhei forest will naturally come out. RRR. So annoying. I really want to quit. Why do I have to be the commander in every battle? Players from all servers in the live broadcast room watched this battle for the first time. I always thought that the European server was high and mighty and invincible. Now I realize that it's not that the opponent is too arrogant, but that we are too stupid. I have already felt the powerlessness of the European server players. If they are tortured like this for a week, I guess the business of psychologists in the European server will increase greatly. Tear up the public screen until tears come out. I can't understand why the Chinese server would let a woman be the battle commander. Don't you know the tradition of the Chinese server? This is the rule set by their ancestors. Women's education is very important. Many inheritances are passed down to girls, not boys. God damn it, pass it down to girls, not boys. If you have time, sign up for more classes upstairs. Your prostatitis has already attacked your brain. BG William intends to contain the front of the Chinese server, and Liang Ting also wants to contain the front of the European server. Liang Ting guessed what the European server commander was thinking. Isn't it just to draw out the combat power of our Chinese server in your Yunhei forest? Okay, I'll show you my cards, but I hope you can take it. After sending private messages to two IDs in the friend list on the official forum, two third level armies suddenly appeared in the Yunhei forest. They were the instant kill and broken kill players led by He Yang and the magic and binder players led by Lan Zifeng. Liang Ting saw two friends in the game come online and immediately sent them to coordinates, which were the tribes of the elves and wizards. Do you think it's so easy for me to let the two armies go offline? The stealth and sneak skills of the third level assassin players in the Chinese server are not something that the second level players in the European server can see through. One night is enough for us to find the locations of your two allied races. After receiving the coordinates, the army led by He Yang immediately activated the sprint skill to surprise attack the coordinates of the elves. After receiving the coordinates, Lan Zifeng immediately asked the army to summon mounts to rush to the location of the wizards. The two armies rushed to the target at a very fast speed. The scouts in every corner of the European server found their locations as soon as possible. However, they were stunned to see that the players in the Chinese server ignored them. After a while of confusion, they suddenly woke up and immediately fed back the information to the European server command. BG Williams' eyes widened. For the first time, he felt so powerless. The tribes of the elves and wizards must have been found. The speed of the third level strength was too fast. Within an hour, the two enemy attack armies would definitely confront the two tribes head on. It was not surprising that the combat power of the elves and wizards would be disintegrated in a short period of time. The third level players of the Chinese server had no worries, but once the elves and wizards died, they would really be gone. Last night, we discussed how to implement various strategies against the Chinese server. Let's talk about it after we get through this level now. The European server players in the cell copy were being beaten and could not leave the combat state and return to the city. The European server was also restrained from returning to the city. The European server players in the City of Hope were too low to resist. In just 3 days, BG William felt that the European server was defeated. To be precise, the two servers actually fought head on for 2 days. On the first day, the Chinese server only solved the troubles of the Cold Kite clan and the Shadow Kite clan in the Zong area. He just planned to lure out the two Voldemort armies, but he didn't expect that the other party had already known the location of the base camps of the two races and lost. In the live broadcast rooms of each server, the overall situation has been decided. The difference in strength is too big. Even if the European server passes the online cooldown, it will be difficult to compete with the Chinese server in terms of morale. The main reason is that after the elves and wizards were dealt with this time, the European server lost two strong supporting races. This time the European server was beaten too hard. I'm afraid it hurts a little. It hurts a little. How can a grown man be afraid of pain? Didn't they say that Chinese server players cannot enter the live broadcast room during the campaign? There is a traitor? Why can you send voice messages? Chapter 219. Angry Ninpo. After only half an hour, He Yang led 300,000 instant kill and broken kill troops to the elves' homeland. Nanpo, who had already received the warning, had organized the entire tribe to be ready for battle. Many European players who had just logged in to participate in the battle also received the notice and rushed to the elves' homeland to participate in the support. The battle had only been over for an hour. Why did it turn into this situation? Exclamation mark. They didn't understand. Facing the enemies that far exceeded their own numbers, the Chinese assassin army was not panicked at all. They had been suppressed for too long. In every battle, their profession was ignored. They were either reconnaissance or flanking attacks. Now it was rare to have a frontal team battle. Suddenly, they had the passion of singing like a liberated serf. I was waiting for this moment. Damn it, where's the chief of the elves? Come out. Mom. Your son has made it. Going straight is not really fast. Going around corners is really fast. We have to rely on you for the cross-server battle. These elves are just like gigolos. I'll show you how real men work. The current chief of the elves is called the God of War Nanpo. Very good. Your parents were very foresighted in naming you, so you can experience your parents' expectations of you being lost. He Yang saw the name Nanpo mentioned in the military channel. Nanpo? Exclamation mark. Why does the name sound so familiar? Suddenly I remembered the spirit wine necklace in my backpack. It seemed to be the item of Nanpo's lover, and I almost forgot it. Tens of thousands of newly launched European server players saw that the distance between the two sides was shrinking, and they could no longer delay. The other side had no intention of negotiating, and they couldn't let the elves suffer too many casualties. This is the foundation race of Yunhei Sinling. If it's gone, it's really gone. He Yang saw tens of thousands of rabble suddenly launched a fearless charge. Oh, they are trying to intercept him, right? With the elite attack set, He Yang didn't even need to give orders. The 3-turn assassin players of the Chinese server directly rushed into the formation of the European server players from all directions. 2 knives killed a kid. In less than 10 minutes, tens of thousands of European server players collectively went offline to eat breakfast. I really envy you. Most of us Chinese players don't even have time to eat breakfast. Nan posted at the forefront of the tribe, looking at the enemy's strength with mixed feelings. They are obviously the same human race. Why can they be so cruel and ruthless? They are really a group of demons. It seems that the elves are doomed. Millions of elves obeyed Nanpo's orders, raised their bows and arrows, and waited for the enemy to approach. However, the 3-turn assassin players of the Chinese server did not face the attack directly, and suddenly disappeared in the astonished sight of the elf army. It was the skills of invisibility and stealth. Sand sculpture, have you forgotten our profession? I'm an assassin. Who will confront you guys head on? I only fight with women. I'm not gay. The elf warriors were still stunned, but Nanpo, as a new god, still felt the enemy approaching, and suddenly got goosebumps. What should I do? This kind of enemy with extremely high damage and faster agility than the elves is completely the natural enemy of our race. Nanpo is not afraid of fighting, but as a patriarch of the elves, he really wants to surrender at this time. The future of the elves cannot be cut off. The wind is over. Nanpo roared. The gentle breeze around suddenly blew towards the invisible Chinese server players. Nanpo roared to the tribesmen. The enemy is still in front of you. The residue left by the direction of the breeze can let you feel the enemy's position. After discovering it, shoot arrows and attack immediately. Too late. He Yang's voice suddenly came. The instant kill profession of the Chinese server has found enough conditions to release short distance sneak attacks. One after another, instant kill players appeared out of thin air and instantly appeared in the center of the army of each elf. Just as Nanpo was about to attack, He Yang's voice appeared in his ears. Are you sure you want to attack us? Aren't you afraid that your people will be destroyed? Nanpo's hands were shaking with anger, but he had to consider the future of his people. The elves really couldn't withstand the baptism of this group of enemies. The group of enemies in front of him was only half of the number, and the other half was aiming at his own people with bows not far away. The reason why He Yang didn't use the order to attack was, first, because Liang Ting had previously reminded him that once the creatures in the game died, they were really dead. If the elves were completely slaughtered, it would completely offend the European server. For a game, there was no need. Second, because He Yang had selfish motives. He held the spirit wine necklace in his hand and wanted to see what benefits he could get from blackmailing. What do you want? There are no creatures in the elves who are afraid of death. Nanpo growled. It may be because of the various insidious skills of the third level assassin profession in the Chinese server, or it may be because this group of players are naturally nemesis to the elves. In the eyes of the elves, even if they only met once, their impression of this group of enemies is much worse than when they were in conflict with the wizards. He Yang was a little confused. Why did these pretty boys look so hostile to us? Obviously, we didn't really attack you. Do you think I killed those European sons in front of you? You have such a strong sense of justice? Really? The elves are not afraid of death. Then you do it? You move. You move. He Yang rolled his eyes and mocked. Psycho, you say this even when the TV series is like this? If you are really not afraid of death, you pretty boys would have been captured by us and taken to the Japanese server to take photos. No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, 1-6, one book, one bar. You. Nanpo was obviously mad at the evil human in front of him and couldn't speak clearly. You, a living being, dare to offend the gods. You don't believe that I will. He Yang interrupted Nanpo before he could finish his words. What? Are you afraid that you will kill me or that you will seal me, just like you sealed Mingjia? Nanpo was stunned. How do you know Mingjia? Are you Mingjia's subordinate? He Yang rolled his eyes again. That idiot Mingjia died in our hands. How could we be his subordinates? Nanpo was surprised. You killed Mingjia. He Yang smiled meanly. Don't you believe it? If you don't believe it, let me show you this. He took out the spirit wind necklace from his backpack and handed it to Nanpo. Nanpo was immediately excited after seeing the necklace and held the necklace with trembling hands. This. He Yang saw that Nanpo's body was so excited and thought to himself that this guy looked quite young. Why did he look like he had Parkinson's? Nanpo was about to ask where the owner of the necklace was when he suddenly found a little dried blood on the necklace. The blood shone into Nanpo's eyes like the sun. Excited Nanpo suddenly became irritable. This was Zifeng's blood. You killed Zifeng. You must have killed Zifeng. I'm going to kill you. Nanpo suddenly became irritable and growled at He Yang. He Yang. Chapter 220. Negotiation. Liang Ting was in a brainstorming state at this time. Since the first day of the battle, Liang Ting had been rehearsing the development of the battle in her mind again and again, and had listed a series of plans again and again. Liang Ting had also thought about the current dilemma of the European server. If nothing unexpected happened, the European server commander should plan to negotiate with her next step. The battle was advancing in an orderly direction that was favorable to the Chinese server. However, just as Liang Ting was waiting for the invitation from the European server commander, she suddenly received a private message. Commander, help me. The elves are crazy. Woohoo. He Yang suddenly sent a message without a beginning or an end. What's going on? Overturned? It shouldn't be. Logically, the elves should not have the strength to fight against the third level assassin profession. Could it be that the European server has a backup plan? What's going on? Explain clearly. He Yang, the elves and our players are still in a stalemate, but the acting chief of the elves, Nanpo, is a psychopath. Other players don't care and just chase me and hack. Liang Ting? Why? Did you curse his mother? How is that possible? I've received higher education, okay. I know not to curse someone's mother and not to hit someone's face. Then he must have a reason to beat you up. Maybe it's because I showed him his girlfriend's necklace. Then what? Then there was blood on it. I swear I don't know anything. I took it from that idiot Mingjia on Shura Island before. Liangting. Come on, I believe you. Liangting didn't know how to describe this guy at this time. He took out the belongings of his girlfriend who didn't know whether she was dead or not and showed them to him. Isn't this provoking him? He Yang saw the perfunctory reply from the commander and he said fuck and moved desperately. Nanpo followed behind him and threw hurricane skills in He Yang's direction like crazy. Although the players of the Chinese server were not afraid of gods and creatures, they would definitely not be able to beat them in a one-on-one fight. He Yang still had this self-knowledge. Damn. If I hadn't been a third level player, I would have been killed in just a few rounds. Nanpo boy. Don't go too far. I'll have the human race kill you elves later, believe it or not. Nanpo was furious. You're still threatening me at this time. You're really a devil. The third level assassin players and the elf warriors in the back were at a loss for a moment. Do you want help? But the other side didn't seem to do anything. This seems to be a grudge between these two guys. The elves saw their chief chasing the enemy's general and beating him. Since the human race didn't help, they were happy to see this scene. The Chinese server players didn't care. It was just an hour of their lives. If they died, they died. They didn't get any battle orders. As the saying goes, if the enemy doesn't move, I won't move. If the enemy moves, I'll move whatever I want. It's just a small matter. Now is the highlight moment for us assassin players. Why do we care about these things? At this time, the wizards in the north of the Sea of Clouds forest, the third level mage professional players led by Lan Zifeng, were much more harmonious with the wizards. The two sides were still chatting while confronting each other. The players also received the command not to take action and to delay. The wizards thought that, although the creatures in front of them were enemies, they were also human beings after all. The grudges between the two different branches of the human race were actually none of their business. In addition, the other party did not seem to be planning to take action, and they should not be planning to regard our wizards as enemies. In this case, as an ally of the human race, should our wizards enlighten the human race? The creatures of the wizards, you are all human beings, just different branches. Why are you so hostile? Can't you sit down and talk slowly about anything? Yes, brothers, listen to me. I'm older than you, and there is nothing that cannot be solved. If you have any difficulties, you can tell us, and we may be able to help you. How about I be the middleman between your two branches of the human race? The players looked at each other at this time. This group of lunatics was too poisoned by the European server. This is a game. We are your enemies. 69. Can I drive a motorcycle in the game? It seems to be the woohoo, He Yang, boss from our server. What's following behind? I don't know, but he looks very excited. Should he be okay? Who cares? He was buried in the end. These assassins are the most annoying, and they keep saying that our mages are rubbish. Liangting was sitting on the front line at this time, witnessing the whole process of the Chinese server players beating up the European server players. Although it took several hours, she still admired the tenacity of the European server. The players who occupied the prison dungeon on the European server were almost cleared out at this time, but Liangting still asked the third level players to go forward and beat them up. This situation that is conducive to boosting morale and beating up the enemy is rare. At noon, the European server camp has gradually weakened. BG Williams saw that, as long as he kept resisting, the Chinese server would not plan to go to the dungeon. This time is to use the time to attack the dungeon, to wear down our morale. If this continues, the European server will lose at least 1/5 of the participating players tomorrow, and no one will be willing to be beaten up by the enemy. With a sigh, BG William knew that he was powerless to save the situation, at least for today. He sent a private message to the highly educated father, Faulkner Marvin, a professional shadow killer player, on the official forum of the European server, and asked him to negotiate. Liangting saw a professional assassin player from the European server walking towards her with his hands raised high. It seemed that this guy had been offline nearby before, and now he was online. After receiving the order, He asked the surrounding players to let him come over and asked the European server player with a smile, "Did your commander ask you to come over for negotiation?" Faulkner Marvin nodded, which was within Liang Ting's expectations. "Tell me, how do you commander plan to negotiate? The players of the Chinese server in the Sea of Clouds forest should withdraw, and the two sides will stop fighting on the front battlefield today." Liang Ting, "What about you?" Faulkner Marvin said reluctantly, "Today, the European server will not block or harass the Chinese server cell dungeon." Liang Ting was silent for a while, and then replied, "Okay." Chapter 221, Neza is born. At 12 o'clock that night, the cell dungeons in the Iron Prison area had been swept away by the Chinese server. Even if they could not defeat the boss, they had to write down the information of the boss in the cell to facilitate the next strategy of other players. In the helpless, angry and astonished investigation of the European server, there were less than 50 cell dungeons in the Iron Prison area. Most of the third level players in the Chinese server had logged off. It was too tiring to play the dungeons for a day. It was so tiring for the third level profession to play the cell dungeons. I really don't know what the meaning of these guys in the European server guarding these dungeons every day was. As the number of cells in the Sky Prison area became less and less, the evil spirit began to spread wildly, and it had already affected the Shadow Kite tribe in the north of the Zhang area and the elves and wizards in the Yunhei area. Liang Ting asked the Shadow Kite tribe to temporarily evacuate to the Cold Kite tribe in the south of the Zhang area. As for how the two bird races communicated, it was not something that the Chinese server could intervene. As for the Yunhei forest, Beji William also suggested that the two races evacuate to the Xia polling area. The wizards were very sensible. As soon as the European server explained the interests, the entire race started to flee, while the elves left the European server speechless. Nanpo, the acting chief of the elves, has disappeared. It is said that he has been chasing a player from the Chinese server and has disappeared for a whole day. What a big grudge, burning your ancestral grave. Helpless, the European server can only organize people to help the elves evacuate. At this time, our chasing duo He Yang and Nanpo had already run a whole circle around the Yunhei forest area. He Yang's medicine in his backpack was almost used up, and Nanpo was gradually becoming weak after chasing for a whole day. "Brother, aren't you tired? Do you want to stop and rest for a while?" He Yang, who had no mana, changed 3 mounts, but couldn't get rid of Nanpo, so he could only admit defeat. Nanpo didn't say anything, but his heart gradually calmed down. After chasing this human for a whole day, it didn't seem like he would kill Zifeng. "Brother, I really don't know what's going on with your love head. I really took the necklace from near Mingjia. If you don't believe me, I guarantee it with my life. At most, you will kill me." He Yang really couldn't run anymore. Nanpo slowly descended, and just when he was about to speak, he suddenly felt an evil spirit coming. His heart, which had calmed down, felt a little angry again. He Yang was relieved to see Nanpo descending. Just when he was about to find a chance to log off, he found that Nanpo's expression began to be wrong. "What's going on? Why is your face so red? Are you trying to transform?" Exclamation mark. Without saying a word, he turned around and ran again, taking drugs while running. Damn it. Who did I offend? While Nanpo was still resisting the evil spirit, He Yang suddenly found a barren land. After running far away, there was a hole on the ground not far away. Wow. The hole. I'm familiar with this environment. I'm a little expert in the hole. Without saying a word, he approached and jumped down. After Nanpo briefly expelled the evil spirit, he found that the human had disappeared. He could not care about so much. The most urgent thing was to stay away from here. The evil spirit was getting stronger and stronger. He Yang immediately logged off after entering the cave. Damn it, I have never run as much as I did today in physical education classes since elementary school. If the data can be falsified and passed out, today's step count will definitely be the first. When He Yang logged off, 2 voices in the cave suddenly talked. "Did a living creature come down just now? How is it possible? Are you stupid? But I clearly heard a sound just now. It seems that your brain has been invaded by evil spirits. Stay away from me. Don't go crazy suddenly and implicate me. You older mortal, I won't go crazy. Even if you go crazy, The evil spirit is getting stronger and stronger. I don't know how my people are doing now. The two voices talking are the former patriarchs of the elves and wizards, Nosli and Wookie. When all the players logged off, the evil dragon sealed underground in the iron prison area looked up with excitement. Come on, come on, come on. Continue to reduce the seal tomorrow. After I get out, I will first eat all the living creatures around me. I haven't eaten for a long time. I'm going to starve to death. Then I will kill little Nessa, and after killing him, find a passage to the void and destroy this world of living creatures. What to do next? Let me think. There are many things to do. In the firing area, the land that had been scorched by flames and exploded all the time suddenly became quiet. The flames in the area gradually dissipated and gathered together, turning into two fires surrounding two iron rings. The iron rings gathered by the fire suddenly caught fire. A colorful ribbon appeared from under the border of the firing area. This ribbon has been surrounding the border of the firing area for countless years. Its function is to limit the spread of the scorching temperature to the surrounding areas. Now that the flames are gone, the ribbon also rushed out from the ground. In the middle of the firing area, a long red light and shadow broke out from the ground and pierced the ground. A simple wooden spear was shaking slightly, as if expressing excitement. A child crawled out of the land destroyed by the wooden spear. He staggered and spit out the mud in his mouth, while brushing off the dust on his head. He slowly stood up and walked towards the wooden spear step by step. With each step, his body grew a little. When he held the wooden spear, the child had become a young man, and the wooden spear in his hand was also wrapped in flames. Two fire rings and colorful ribbons fell from the sky and quietly surrounded the young man. The young man stepped on the fire rings, and the ribbons automatically wrapped around the young man's neck. Fire spear, chaos sky ribbon, wind fire wheel. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. I'm going to fight side by side with you again. Excited, ha ha ha. Nessa looked at the horizon and said to himself, the seal is about to disappear. With the birth of Nessa, Lu Dongban in the Chunhyang area, Zhu Beiji who was looking for the monkey, and Shabujing who had just left the Liasha River, all sensed a familiar atmosphere. In a special space, Ksitagabha Bodhisattva was sitting face to face with a huge figure. Ksitagabha Bodhisattva, now that Nessa has been born, the fourth dragon emperor should soon be able to break the seal. The huge figure, the void, the abyss, and the living beings, the three worlds will soon intersect again. Are you ready? Ksitagabha Bodhisattva, there is nothing to prepare. The human race will not enter the cycle of reincarnation. This time, they are the protagonists between heaven and earth. The huge figure, Ksitagabha Bodhisattva, Emperor, where are the four symbols emperors now? The huge figure, the void, Ksitagabha Bodhisattva, then we. The huge figure, guard the abyss. Ksitagabha Bodhisattva stood up and was about to leave, and the huge figure suddenly said, Taoism is about to be born, and Buddhism should also be born. After listening to this, Ksitagabha Bodhisattva put his hands together and made a Buddhist salute. I will follow the decree of the great Emperor Dangyu. Chapter 222, History of the Living World. Ding, the evil dragon is about to be born. Planet opens a new chapter. The game background is updated. 1. The planet creature world is invaded by the void world and the abyss world. The creatures of the three worlds are hostile to each other in principle. 2. Taoism and Buddhism are born. 3. The pre-tasks for the third job transfer of all servers are cancelled. 4. The Asian and American servers are about to face the void invasion. Please unite as one. 5. Tips for the fourth job transfer. Look for the creatures of Buddhism and Taoism. 6. Please prepare for a long-term battle for all players in the server. Once the world battle fails, planet will be suspended indefinitely. The sudden announcement from the system made players on all servers explode. Fuck. An unexpected game update. A new world map is being added. The world of creatures hasn't even been completely conquered, and it's already 2.0 mode. Fuck. The official details say that there are too many dungeons of prison cells in the iron prison area in the Chinese and European servers, and the evil dragon underground was released. How the hell are the rest of the servers supposed to survive? The Chinese and European servers are messing with you, and you're attacking the Asian and American servers head on. How did you pass your political class, you damn official? Bai Bing seemed particularly confused when he got up early in the morning. Bai suddenly told him about the background changes in the game. Was he acting without authorization? He quickly stood up and shook his head to wake himself up. What are the void world and the abyss world? Black and white, the three worlds of void, abyss and living things are hostile to each other. Void and abyss, because of the barrenness of their own worlds, plan to invade the world of living things after discovering it. Therefore, no matter what, the world of living things must face the invasion of these two worlds. Bai Bing was stunned for a while, then reacted and said, aren't there many powerful creatures in the world of living things? Just let them repel the enemy. Black and white, you have always been curious about my origins before. I will tell you now, so that you can have a basic understanding of the three worlds. Bai Bing was surprised. He had been curious about Black and White's origins for a long time, but Black and White was obviously unwilling to say it. Now he suddenly took the initiative to explain, which made Bai Bing feel a little stunned. Black and White, countless years ago, the world of living beings was just born and gave birth to many living beings. The human race was the most prosperous race among them, and it can be said that it was the darling of the world of living beings. There were three religions in the world, namely, the human, the Ji, and the Chan, and the human race enjoyed one of them alone. At that time, the world of living beings was nurtured by the great Dao, and the saints of the three religions were born at the same time. As the most prosperous human religion, the human race presided over countless living beings in the world of living beings. There were 7 territories controlled by the human race alone, which are where the 7 servers are now. Of course, the human race is far from reaching the height of the human race at that time. These 7 territories plus the other 2 territories controlled by the Ji and Chan religions are collectively called Jiazhao. When Jiazhao was developing along the Great Dao, the Void and the Abyss invaded at the same time. As the dwelling of Jiazhao, the human race was the first to face the creatures of the two worlds, and was eventually defeated and nearly destroyed. The new saint evacuated Jiazhao with the last spark of the human race, to find a new home for the human race. The human religion was severely injured, and had no strength to fight again. However, the desperate confrontation of the human religion seriously damaged the two worlds of the Void and the Abyss. The 2 saints of the Ji religion and the Chan religion sealed the passage between the Void and the Abyss at the cost of almost being destroyed. Only 1 in 10 of the creatures of the 2 religions survived, just to give the human race time to reignite. So far, there has been no news about the saints of the 3 religions, and the followers of the 3 religions have also been dormant, waiting for the birth of the saints of the 3 religions or the human race to counterattack the Void and the Abyss. After all, the creatures of the 9 provinces, that is, the current world of creatures, cannot always let the 2 invading worlds stare at them covetously, and the creatures need to fight back. The birth of the human race represents the birth of the saint of the human religion, and the birth of the saint represents the unity of the 3 religions. And you, Bai Bing, are the 7th and last reincarnation of the saint of the human race. Bai Bing was stunned for a while after hearing this, then he fell down, closed his eyes, and covered his head with the quilt, muttering, I must be dreaming. Yes, I must be dreaming. It's impossible. Haha, impossible. Bai continued, the 7 objects you brought back then are your 7 reincarnations, and also the 7 territories controlled by the human religion. Your first 6 times all failed. Now is your 7th reincarnation, and it is also your last chance. Bai Bing suddenly lifted the quilt, and shouted in disbelief, I'm just an ordinary person. Not the reincarnation of a saint as you said. People like me are everywhere on the street. Bai, in the first 6 lives, the human race you controlled ended in failure. The 7th life is the one in which you have the best chance to counterattack the Void and the Abyss, because of your game, and it was you who chose me, not me who chose you. Bai Bing was speechless. Why did he so kindly sweep away the old man's stool for no reason? What about you? What are you? Don't tell me you are also my incarnation. Bai Bing shouted. Bai was silent for a while, then said, I'm not your incarnation. When you officially become a saint of the human religion, you will know what I am. Bai Bing shouted, you are like this every time. Since you said I'm a saint, you don't tell me anything. What do you want me to do? Hey Bai, I need you to enter the world as a saint of the human religion. Bai Bing calmed down. I enter the world? Do you mean for me to enter the game? Hey Bai, the void and the abyss have shown signs of awakening. You can't hide anymore. Bai Bing, what should I do by entering the world? I don't have any magic power. Hey Bai, with your will, lead the human race and kill the creatures of the void and the abyss. With one less creature in the hostile world, the two sects of Ji and Chan can breathe a little longer. Liangting and BG William immediately ordered a ceasefire after receiving the news, and then rushed to the front line of the army at the same time. They both saw the command of the other server at the same time. Ceasefire, or continue to attack the prison cell. BG William smiled bitterly. It's useless. The server prompts of our European server have been refreshed. In half an hour, the evil dragon will be born. The system asked us to evacuate the Yunhei forest area as quickly as possible. The realm of the evil dragon is enough to destroy our European server. Seeing countless European server players put down their weapons and stared blankly, they completely ignored the bullying of the Chinese server. The Russian server and the American server are the first to bear the brunt, and then our European server is the first to be beaten? Damn official, I will never forgive you. So what? Evacuate or evacuate? Evacuate. Evil dragon? What's wrong with an evil dragon? What's so scary about a dragon? I have seen a dragon with my own eyes. When has the upstairs seen a dragon? I have been served by a dragon. BG William looked weak. It seemed that after so many days of destruction by the Chinese server and the upcoming dimensionality reduction attack, he had already decided to muddle through and hand in a blank paper. Liangting felt a little embarrassed. She had indeed bullied the European server too much in the past 2 days. This is not just a matter of your European server. Didn't you read the announcement? This is a world battle. If you fail, planet will be shut down. After hearing Liangting's words, BG William remembered the content of the announcement. Liangting continued, what's more, what's so scary about the evil dragon? Have you forgotten that there is an evil dragon skeleton in the extremely cold area of our Chinese server? They are not invincible. BG William was speechless. It was as if you had killed a long worm. Liangting laughed shamelessly. The iron prison area, we Chinese server have taken over. Chapter 223, The Evil Dragon is Born. After Bai Bing was forced to operate by Heli Bai, he cursed and began to forcibly interfere with the development of the living world. He immediately cut off the screen of the official live broadcast room. He was afraid that, after seeing the strength of the evil dragon, the servers with low levels would be discouraged and lose their enthusiasm. In addition, a main task was released to several servers other than the Chinese server and the European server at the same time, which was to make every effort to improve the level. Then, an announcement of evacuation was issued in the European server. Although the players would not die, it was unnecessary to be crushed once. After the announcement was released, Bai Bing noticed that the players in the European server were still staying in the iron prison area without moving, and the Chinese server commander was forcibly filling the European server commander with chicken soup. Bai Bing? Question mark? Okay, since you don't leave, then wait to be beaten. Now the most urgent task is to find an opportunity for the players to transfer to the 4th level. Now even if there are Chinese servers with 4th level professions, there are only 2.5 people, and Yi Jian counts as half. Heli Bai suggested to Bai Bing that he could provide the coordinates of the powerful in the world of living beings to help the human race. Bai Bing also thought it was feasible. This group of animals had such an opportunity in less than a year. As long as they were not too wasteful, the powerful would still give face to the human race. Time passed bit by bit, and the players of each server immediately developed the strength of their own servers, especially the Russian and American servers. They were ready to be attacked by the enemy. I just opened the server and you gave me such a big surprise. Question mark? Liangting and BG William were ready to face the evil dragon at this time. The players of the two strongest servers were full of emotion. The Chinese server was ready to beat the European server again today. Several fancy insults were prepared. A joint world battle was suddenly launched after a demerit. Isn't this a blow to the child's self-confidence? Exclamation mark. Facing the indignation of the Chinese server, the European server felt that it had won. Although it had been beaten for so many days, it was undeniable that you couldn't take away the iron prison area. Suddenly, all the remaining cells that had not been conquered suddenly shook violently. Cracks appeared on the surface of each cell, and finally there was a blast, and the cells collapsed one after another, and the crazy voices resounded throughout the iron prison area. Swamp revelation, the peak of the spirit. Daytime black dog, the late stage of the spirit. Bat king, the middle stage of the spirit. Steel flame bird, the early stage of the spirit. Dozens of figures rushed out of the collapsed cells, and the violent aura made the players of the two servers feel a little uncomfortable. Liang Ting muttered, looking at the crazy look of the guys. It seems that they can't communicate. BG William nodded. The evil spirit has no effect on us players, but it is fatal to them. BG William saw so many gods appear in the same area at the same time for the first time, and they were all enemies. He was a little overwhelmed for a while, and then he saw Liang Ting's burning eyes. What do you mean by this look? What's with all the excitement you're showing? Exclamation mark. Like Liang Ting, the Chinese server players were relieved to see so many gods. Sure enough, the damn official blocked my way, but they would still leave some other benefits for us. Otherwise our trip to the iron prison would be in vain. The European server also noticed that the Chinese server players beside them looked a little terrified. So you guys had this mentality when you fought with us European servers before. You didn't treat us as human beings? Liang Ting said with relief. This is the first time I've encountered so many gods. BG William said, if you find it difficult, we European servers won't. Before she finished speaking, Liang Ting interrupted directly. Don't do that. The Chinese server players have been talking about birds for a while. It's hard to get excited. If you interfere, I can't guarantee that they will beat you up. BG William. Liang Ting said in the battle channel, move freely and try to eat and drink enough before the evil dragon is born. You don't need to tell me. None of you should interfere with the strongest one. Leave it to our troops. Haha, just because you have a prominent disc, you want us to give in? Be polite. The European server is still watching. Don't embarrass yourself. We are a country of etiquette with a history of 5,000 years. That makes sense. Then you stay here and talk to them about the anelects. One by one, the Chinese server players roared like crazy and rushed towards the direction of the various god enemies. The shocking momentum and sound were even heard by the two races of Han Yuan and Aing Yuan in the Zhang area. The momentum of the Chinese server players shocked the dozens of crazy gods sobered up for a moment, and a trace of fear appeared on their faces, but they were still overcome by the evil spirits, and rushed towards the players like crazy. Although the players of the Chinese server were merciless, they still showed the discipline of the strongest server in the face of dozens of gods. The two frontline professions, Shield Star and Akala, stood at the forefront and turned on, and withstood the first wave of impact. Millions of Chinese server players launched a simple round of skill bombardment at the moment when the gods were intercepted. Before the frontline combat forces had time to get close, dozens of god enemies had been killed or injured. Nearly half of the surviving gods were injured without exception. What the hell? Coming out and screaming, and a round of attacks went limp. Fuck, I was so excited, but it's useless. These guys are not as tenacious as the European server. After hearing the complaints from the Chinese server, the European server roared inwardly, you have millions of combat forces to bombard dozens of opponents. How dare you say this? Question mark? You had the guts to enter the cell and fight them. It's still a country of etiquette. Damn. Liang Ting glanced at BG William. Her eyes seemed to say, just this bunch of rabble persuaded you to retreat. BG William pretended not to see it. Liang Ting said, this time, the Chinese server will play the main force in the evil dragon battle. Do you have any objections? No mistake. One song, one post, one content, one six, one book, one bar. If it weren't for the fact that the iron prison area is still under the jurisdiction of the European server, I wouldn't even give you any soup. Liang Ting's words were immediately irritated when the European server players heard them. What do you mean? You think our European server is not good, right? Do you think I'm Jerry if the mouse doesn't show its power? Today, I'll let you Chinese server see how tough and long our European server is. After the two commanders heard the dissatisfaction of the European server players, BG William smiled at Liangting and said, "You see, this is our European server's home court. You are guests. It's not your turn yet. Are you kidding? I've been bullied by you for a few days. I finally have a chance to regain my face. Can you act arrogantly here?" Liangting was about to sarcastically say that when the ground suddenly shook violently, a huge black head that looked like a lizard and a dragon appeared from the ground, opened its huge mouth, and swallowed the remaining gods directly into its mouth, and then the entire shadow body gradually emerged from the ground. The players on both servers looked at the black behemoth in astonishment. The fourth dragon emperor. The void world. The realm has fallen to the peak of Shengming. The European server players swallowed their saliva unconsciously after seeing this guy. What, are you kidding? The peak of Shengming, or the realm after falling? With this strength, even 10 European servers can't beat him. Liangting looked at BG William with a loving face, like a good mother's eyes. "You are right. This is your home court. We Chinese server will not interfere." BG William turned his head to look at Liangting woodenly and said awkwardly, "Let you Chinese server come. We European server will assist." The players of the European server just finished their big talk and now they are all scared again. The players of the Chinese server laughed. "You are useless, even if you are given a chance. It's true that a man should be seen in vain after 3 days of absence. Kneel down. You are nothing. Our ancestors were right. It's better to be humble." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224, Nezza and the Fourth Dragon Emperor. The shadow of the Black Evil Dragon occupied half of the Iron Prison area. The players from the two servers surrounded the evil dragon like ants surrounding a tall building. The players below the shadow were almost instantly killed. Only a few third level players remained at the scene with residual health. The shadow of the evil dragon gradually dissipated, and a humanoid girl wrapped in a black cloak stood on the vast open space. Liangting thought that most of the players in the Chinese server had the strength of the third level and could resist the evil dragon head on. As a result, she found out that she was naive. After a confrontation, countless second level players were killed instantly, and third level players were directly suppressed and left with residual health. Liangting and BG William both looked extremely ugly. Is this the 2.0 version of the Void Boss? The fourth Dragon Emperor? Does it mean that there are at least 3 guys of this strength? The realm drop is so terrible. How terrible is it in the heyday? The fourth Dragon Emperor glanced around and laughed in a clear voice like a silver bell. "I saw the human race the first time I came out. How interesting." None of the players on the scene made a sound. The enemy in front of them was too terrifying. The system prompted that this was a mortal enemy. There was no need to negotiate. The only way was to fight to the death. But how should they fight? The fourth Dragon Emperor found that no one paid attention to him. He said to himself in disappointment, "It's really boring. The human race is still as annoying as before. Then I might as well eat you all." The fourth Dragon Emperor raised his hands, and 2 black balls of light condensed in his hands. He forced his hands together and laughed. "Dragon army, show up." Countless space cracks appeared in every corner of the Iron Prison area. One after another, creatures with dragon heads and human bodies of different sizes, wearing spiked armor and covered with scales, drilled out of the cracks. Munlong, race, Void Earth Dragon Clan, early stage of God. Jacqueline, race, Void Earth Dragon Clan, early stage of God. Awkward Dragon, race, Void Earth Dragon, early stage of God. Nearly 1 million God Void Evil Dragons appeared in every corner of the Iron Prison. Liangting and BG William looked extremely unhappy. What does this mean? The total number of players on our 2 servers is less than 10 million. You are giving me 1 million god enemies? Are you kidding me? The fourth Dragon Emperor smiled cheerfully and crisply. "Girls, long time no see. Come out to receive guests." Countless evil dragons looked at the surrounding players with burning eyes, making sounds from their mouths, as if they would pounce on the players and devour them in the next second. The fourth Dragon Emperor continued, "It's only right to celebrate my breaking of the seal with the blood of your human race. You can't run away. My girls have been hungry for countless years. Fuck you girls. These guys have such a rough aesthetic. Haha, this is the way it is, with this weight. Have you ever heard that, if a female weighs more than 100 kilograms, men and women can't touch each other? Millions of evil dragons, how do we beat them? How about we talk about loyalty and go back to the city to let the European server play slowly? That's a good talk. Shut up next time." The players were joking, but they were extremely nervous inside. It was just a game, but facing the fourth Dragon Emperor and this group of evil dragons, it felt extremely real, as if they were really on the verge of a life and death fight. The fourth Dragon Emperor was about to let the evil dragons revel, but suddenly felt a threat, looked up at the distant horizon, and said to himself, "Little Nessa, you're finally here." The players in the iron prison area suddenly heard a sharp sound, and then saw a red light approaching rapidly from the horizon, as if something broke the speed of sound. The fourth Dragon Emperor looked at the red light with cold eyes, and silently flashed and appeared a few meters away. The next second, a red spear pierced the ground, where the fourth Dragon Emperor was originally standing, and the strong impact smashed a huge pit. A young man stood silently above the flaming spear, looking at the fourth Dragon Emperor with indifference. The fourth Dragon Emperor regained his smile. "Little Nessa, long time no see." The players collectively looked at the person who appeared in ecstasy. The dog official still makes sense. Nessa, the teaching of the Chan sect, the late stage of Shengming, identified that the person who came was indeed a young man in the heaven. "Nessa, I want to give birth to a monkey for you. I'm a lotus root. Can you fertilize a lotus root?" The late stage of Shengming, the woman on the opposite side is the peak of Shengming. "Can you beat her?" Nessa was a little surprised when he saw the densely packed human race around him. When did the human race come into the world? And there are so many of them? What happened during my sleep for all these years? The fourth Dragon Emperor found that Nessa ignored him, and his face was displeased. "You are as rude as your master." After hearing the words of the fourth Dragon Emperor, Nessa narrowed his eyes. "Don't worry, one day, I will use the creatures of your void to commemorate my master." The fourth Dragon Emperor said with a tsk. "Your master said something similar when he was killed by us." Nessa turned to the players and said, "Human race, these bastards of the void are handed over to you." Without waiting for the players to react, the fourth Dragon Emperor smiled and said, "Are you planning to kill me here? My strength hasn't recovered yet. You won't take advantage of me, will you? Why does this woman talk so disgustingly? Did she take too much uric acid? I smell a strong scent of green tea. She wouldn't sell tea in her spare time, would she? The skin is so dark that I can't even tell if it's a man or a woman. No mistake. One poem, one post, one content, one book, one forum, one post, one content. Don't worry, Nezzaroppa, just focus on beating up the green tea and leave these bugs to us." The players were really disgusted by the words and deeds of the fourth Dragon Emperor. How perverted must the game designers of the official dog have been in their minds, or how many stories they have experienced to set up such a disgusting boss. Liang Ting and BG William have been whispering, Min Lang should have high agility and high burst, similar to the assassin profession. So the armored dragon is the front row, but what is the attribute of the arrogant dragon? You can't tell from the name. You will know after the battle. In this battle, our third level players in the Chinese server are the main force, and the remaining second level players can only hold on and delay time. I know, I will explain it to our European server players. The fourth Dragon Emperor's face turned ugly when he heard the words of the human race, a race that was almost extinct theirs, to speak so arrogantly now. Ants should be devoured by fire. Nezza pulled out his fire spear and said lightly, "You have also been suppressed in Jiazhou for countless years by this group of so-called ants." The fourth Dragon Emperor laughed. It took 2 saints from Jiazhou to temporarily close a passage between the void and the abyss. You are just lingering on now. Nezza stared at the other party indifferently without speaking, and the fire spear in his hand silently ignited a raging fire. The fourth Dragon Emperor, you can't beat me. Nezza, you can't kill me either. As soon as the voice fell, the two disappeared at the same time, followed by a heavy collision sound above the iron prison area, and the impact force raised a violent hurricane, as if telling the players in the void evil dragon. The fight has begun. Chapter 225, Brickler's Doubts. Ding, the cross-server joined campaign is launched, and the campaign mechanism is updated. 1. Kill the creatures of the void and the abyss world to gain double experience, soul value, and honor value. 2. Add a new third turn 60 level purple suit. 3. Add a cross-server friend mechanism. As soon as the system announcement was launched, the players' eyes were wide open, and the 2.0 version was too awesome. Although the campaign has become extremely difficult, it is very exciting. Liang Ting randomly applied for the cross-server joined campaign command application with BG William, and the players of the two servers instantly became allies. This mechanism better avoids accidental injuries. Even if they are in the bombing zone of other players, they can avoid being hurt by other players. Moreover, whether it is Liang Ting or BG William, as long as they speak on the cross-server joined campaign channel, they can be seen by the players of both servers. Liang Ting sent on the campaign channel. Second turn players must hold on no matter what, and third turn players must eliminate the void enemies as soon as possible, and then support the nearest second turn team. Millions of void earth dragons attacked the surrounding players like zombies. BG William jumped onto the treetops to observe the differences between the three void creatures. The total number of players on the two servers in the iron prison area reached tens of millions at this time, and on average 10 players resisted a creature with the strength of a void god. Because of the newly added battle mechanism, more and more players were teleported to the iron prison area. In less than a minute, BG William sent a message on the battle channel. The following are the attributes of the three types of earth dragons. Mind dragon, both melee and ranged, high burst, low defense, similar to assassin creatures. Ankylosaur, melee, average output, extremely high defense, similar to warrior creatures. Arrogant dragon, ranged, high and continuous output damage, similar to mage creatures. After receiving the information of the three types of earth dragon creatures, the players instantly adjusted their positions. Except for the third turn players in the Chinese server, all second turn players chose earth dragon creatures that suited the team's characteristics as their defense targets. The fucking Ankylosaurus killed half of my HP with one basic attack, and you call that average damage? The European server commander is really a sleep deprived person. I suggest you take some Liu Wei de Huang pills. That's because your equipment is too low. Your European server is not good enough. This arrogant dragon's spell damage is almost the same as that of a third level mage. How can we second level players handle it? Please explain why Min Lang can kill the front row of our team in one basic attack. The second level players were beaten by the three types of earth dragon creatures and suffered terribly. The enemies with millions of gods per capita were even painful for the Chinese server. They had a lot of fun beating the European server a few days ago, and now they can finally understand the discomfort of the sons of the European server. However, for the European server, they are used to it. It's just a beating. Except for the Southeast Asian server, our European server can be said to be at the expert level. The situation of the second level players put great pressure on the third level players of the Chinese server. Imagine that if they kill the enemy 1 second less, the players will lose countless combat power. It's really a race against time to play a game. I wasn't so passionate, even when I was taking the exam. Liang Ting said to BG William, strange, this group of earth dragons are all at the level of gods, but their intelligence is extremely low. Are all the creatures in the void world like this? BG William nodded. I noticed it too. They are obviously powerful, but they have no cooperation at all. They didn't even help when their own kind were surrounded and suppressed. Liang Ting gritted her teeth and said, if it weren't for the heavy evil spirit in this area, our two servers could have gathered all the gods and allies to come to support. Both of them looked up at the sky. At this time, Neza and the fourth Dragon Emperor were constantly colliding with each other at a speed that could not be observed by the naked eye. The violent vibrations were enough for the two commanders to imagine how fierce the fight was. The fourth Dragon Emperor was covered with black scales at this time, and Neza was also burning with flames. The constant collisions between the two sides seemed to be painless. The fourth Dragon Emperor defended while laughing. You're awesome, little Neza. You're able to fight me with your strength in the late Shengming period. Nezha attacked the enemy expressionlessly, constantly strangling the 4th Dragon Emperor with the fire spear in his hand, the Hun Xianling constantly trying to restrain him, and the 2 wind fire wheels cooperating with Nezha's attack to hit him from all directions. The 4th Dragon Emperor dodged easily and continued to laugh. I have been sealed for too long, and my realm is not at its peak. Now it is only at the peak of Shengming. It's a pity, otherwise I will definitely catch you and break your limbs. Nezha said lightly, you can't kill me, even if you are at your peak. The 4th Dragon Emperor, I know, but you can't kill me either. How about we make a bet? Nezha ignored him, and the 4th Dragon Emperor continued, let's bet on how long the human race below can hold on. Nezha looked at the 4th Dragon Emperor strangely, and the latter smiled and said, my girls have been hungry for too long, and they will desperately attack and kill the human race no matter what. Such a large number of human races is enough to feed my girls. Let's bet. When my girls are full, can you catch me? If not, I will go back to the void. Nezha laughed unconsciously. This time, the human race will not enter the reincarnation when they are born. I guess your idea will fail. The passage to the void world has been blocked, and you can't go back. Nezha said lightly. The 4th Dragon Emperor smiled and said, that's a pity. Then I can only stay in Jiazhou and strangle all your creatures. No mistake. 1 sentence, 1 post, 1 content, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 look. After saying that, he lowered his head and looked at the fight between the human race and the Earth Dragon race, and his eyes froze for a moment. Strange, where are the bodies of the human race? Nezha stopped and smiled. You shouldn't have summoned your void creatures. The human race in this life has the strength to strangle them all, and you, the 4th Dragon Emperor, Brickler, can't return to the void and will eventually be hunted down by the gods of Jiazhou to the ends of the earth. The 4th Dragon Emperor Brickler restrained his smile and fell silent. He suddenly disappeared without a sound and appeared between Liangting and BG William. Then Nezha also appeared behind Liangting. Brickler gently stroked BG William's hair and said with a smile, little brother, can you tell me why your human race disappears after death? After Nezha appeared, he immediately protected Liangting, but he was still a step slower. The 2 commanders were startled by the sudden situation. When they found out that it was the ultimate big boss on the field, they froze at the same time. Why don't you 2 play house in the sky and come to bully us? Question mark? Looking at the dazed BG William, Brickler smiled and said, don't worry, little brother, sister is not a bad person. Tell me and sister will give you candy. Nezha stared. Although the information that the human race will not enter the reincarnation will be known sooner or later, it is an advantage to cover it up for a while. I hope this human race will not be stupid enough to tell the enemy his trump card. BG William and Liangting looked at each other, and the latter winked lightly, and BG William was full of confidence. Damn, although I'm socially phobic, I'm not afraid of you, a boss in the game. You, a grey wolf, come to the sheepfold to ask how well the mutton is cooked. Do you think I'm an idiot? Because of love. BG William answered calmly. Brickler, Nezha, I beep your mother. BG William continued to sing. Brickler, Nezha, it's a pity that I'm not your father. Brickler didn't show any anger towards Nezha, but was extremely angry when insulted by the ants of the human race. Don't hit people in the face. Don't insult people in the mother's name. Don't you know the bottom line of diplomacy? Question mark. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.